To the Thursday, May 14th, 2026 meeting of the Parks and Community Services Committee. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I needed to make one comment before we start, and that is that we have the budget hearings start in this room at 1 p.m. So we are going to try and keep things moving along. And we need to leave the building quickly after the presentation so they can get in here and set up for the next meeting. So thank you all for that. The item on our agenda today is community grant presentations. So, we will go ahead and start. So to start, we have a South County Community Food Bank. Darren Gooch.
Thank you.
Thanks, Darren.
I really appreciate you guys moving the schedule to accommodate me. And I did include in your packet this year. This is a sheet that is a year end that I do for all my board members to kind of give us a sense of where we ended at the end of the calendar year. And looking at these numbers, it's an absolutely mind-boggling amount of food that goes through our pantry on an annual basis. 234,348 pounds came through our pantry last year. We were able to serve 9,835 people. That's one of the highest years yet that we've seen as far as folks coming into our pantry needing food assistance. Our mission is to provide a 3 to 5 day emergency supply of food. And we accommodate people one visit per month. So it really is an amazing number of folks, and those are folks that really are kind of in a really tough place financially. Probably one of our biggest challenges last year was the government shutdown and the discontinuation of SNAP benefits. As you probably recall, at the end of October, early part of November, but there was a lot of folks that visited our pantry were really unsure if they were going to have SNAP benefits the following month. So one of our biggest challenges was being able to get access to a lot of food that we needed through the regional food banking system. We did have to go outside of the regional food banking system at that point to access some of those things that we felt were really, really important, that were really needed. We could get a lot of the staples still, so we, a lot of rice, a lot of beans, those kinds of good starches and proteins. But peanut butter is one of those things that we really, we go through a lot of peanut butter. It's a quick source of protein for a lot of our folks, especially those folks that don't have access to a kitchen or a place to prepare food. So we had to go out and buy about 40 to 50 cases of peanut butter. It's a mind-boggling amount of peanut butter that we go through. Other things like some cereals, things of that kind that we just hadn't had access to for a rather long time through the food banking system. So we were able to go out and purchase those foods. Our pantry was bursting at the seams. But we were able to meet the demand of those folks that were coming in there at the end of October, early part of November. So really proud of that we were able to continue with a lot of uncertainty, the needs of the folks in our community that needed our services. So and Cannon Beach, obviously your support last year was a big part of us being able to provide that service. So we have a wonderful relationship with the Cannon Beach Food Pantry, but we do find ourselves in excess of things throughout the year. This year, probably not as much as prior years, but if we find ourselves in excess of eggs, things like that, we're good community partners. We like to share with other partner agencies in the food banking system. So. And Cannon Beach does drop off things on Thursday mornings, things that they couldn't serve out throughout the day on Wednesday. And so again, it's just another example of how our partner agency system, we share and share alike to make sure that the food gets another opportunity to get in the hands of the folks that need it. I would happily answer any questions you might have.
Well, one of my questions was going to be how the amounts of food you've been able to share out to the various food pantries, including our own, how that had been affected in the past year. And I think you've already kind of answered that,
Yeah.
maybe not quite as much, but.
Well, I think all of us have found ourselves in that situation where, with the cuts to the USDA, not quite as much variety, I guess you would say, has been coming down to the regional food banking system. So the amounts of excess we've had over the past year have been a little smaller. Usually those excesses come from outside sources. I would use the example of, it wasn't last year, it was the prior year. We got a phone call from one of the fish processing places up in Astoria and said, hey, we got 5 tons of fish. I said, no, it's not 5 tons. It's, but it was a really, it was about, 10,000 pounds or something like that. So yeah, it could have been close to 5 tons. But that was then it's a calling around to the other pantries, you guys need some fish, you guys need some fish. We obviously don't have the capacity to store, all of that. Some local folks were able to open up their freezers, some local businesses, to help us out in the short term until we could get that out to other folks. But situations like that, natural grocers, I think it was, about 100 dozen eggs at one point too. So, we were able to share those out to folks. So we try, when we have access to that. For sure.
Is there any light at the end of the tunnel with regard to the federal piece of it, or?
You hit kind of a plateau right now. I feel like, we're seeing a little more of that variety come down through the USDA, into the regional food banking system, the Oregon Food Bank. So I think we've kind of hit a plateau. It doesn't seem like they're making as many cuts as they were last year. It seemed like last year they were going in and just kind of ripping and tearing things apart. It seems like a lot of that has started. So, yeah. So I see that as a positive for
That's one more question.
You can ask them any.
So I'll be so this is not intended to be a high finance kind of question, but one of the things I'd like to look at are the financials that we asked you to send us. And I was curious, in your packet, wherever you just one page, I don't know if you had it there, but
Yeah.
it says January to December 25 actually.
Yes.
And it showed at the bottom, over $100,000 worth of net income.
Mhm. Yeah.
I expected it to be a much smaller number, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were very fortunate last year, to receive a bequest, from, someone who had passed on, and left an amount of money to us. I think it was 134,000 by the time the estate was settled. And so, the last year, my board voted to actually take, 100,000 of that and, invest that into a CD, to start earning some interest for us as a way of, kind of creating a foundation or safety net for our pantry. So,
Wow, good idea.
over my 10 years with the pantry and 9 years as board president, I have found that I cannot always count on my refrigeration units. So I've replaced probably 6 units at least in my past 10 years. So, if that money comes into play, it would probably be to replace the refrigeration unit.
Very fortunate to live there. Thank you for that explanation.
Absolutely, yeah. So,
Okay, anybody else have any questions for Darren? Okay, right,
Great.
thank you. So next, we have Cooch,
I'll switch-
Sunset Park and Recreation
I'll
Foundation.
switch hats. Yeah. Another piece that I'm really fortunate to be involved with is the Sunset Park and Recreation Foundation. I'm a staff liaison to the foundation and I work very directly with the scholarship program. It's a wonderful program that has served, a lot of folks, that live at that poverty level. I've been, kind of connected to it, in various ways, over my 22 years with the Park and Recreation District. When I first started with the Park District, I actually was a pottery teacher. I worked youth programs, but I also taught a pottery program. And I really got to experience firsthand, the impact that our scholarship program has, on the folks that come to, take part in programming with Park District. I had a few, folks from, one of the local group homes, that, were able to take part in the program, and specifically because of the scholarships were available to them. And just to see them, the impact that had on those folks to be able to take part in that activity. Over the years, the program, has really grown. I think, originally when we started out, we were maybe giving out $5,000 in scholarships. Those, in the very early years. Now we get out of an average of about $20,000, a year in scholarships to folks. We use, the USDA's, free and reduced meals, guidelines as sort of the basis for determining eligibility for the program. And, last year, I believe we had about, 36 requests. That's one of the highest, number of requests for scholarships that I've seen, probably in the past 10 years. Generally, it hangs over somewhere around the, low 20s. 22, 23 requests, annually. Yeah, I had 36, last year. I did include in the packet also kind of a chart that, breaks down how those scholarships, are allocated. And as you can see this year, again, youth programs, comes in at about 76%, of the requests. And mainly because, they're higher dollar programs, and also because there is a huge need for youth programs, childcare, in our community. And, I remember when my wife and I were much younger, and had 3 kids and had to try to afford childcare for three children. It's about $900 a month. Back in the late 90s, that was what, I'm not sure what that would equate to these days, $1,800 probably, at least. So that was a big chunk of our income at that time, just to make sure that our kids were in a safe place throughout the day while we were doing this. I think we were juggling school and work at that time. But, yeah, so it's an amazing program. Our board works very, very hard to raise the funds. It's through generous donations from organizations such as yours. Private donations that come into the foundation, and now our newer annual fundraiser, which is the Hood to Coast. We offer parking and showers and a place to sleep for runners at the Sunset Recreation Center in Seaside. So that has turned out to be a really wonderful way of helping support the program. Also, we had this last year a really generous donation from an organization known as Get Out the Float. Some of you probably know them as the furries that come to town in Seaside and have their convention annually at the convention center. They take donations throughout the course of their event. And they were able to donate $5,000 to a scholarship program this year. So it was double what they were able to raise last year. So all of that taken together, we met our fundraising goal for last year and are well underway with meeting our goal for this year. So, yeah.
So was last year, I guess going into this year, the first year you did the Hood to Coast?
Last year was the second year. Yeah, the second year.
And that, from what you provided, it looked like it was very.
It was. We kind of learned a lot first year, streamlined for last year, and have a lot of great ideas for how to streamline it a little further this year. It's a very long day for volunteers though. It's about 14 to 16 hours. We get there at 4 o'clock in the morning and get the tent set up, and I think the first runners show up about 4:15 or 4:30. So, yeah. Yeah, it's amazing.
I thought that was very creative. I didn't realize it was, so this will be your third year.
This would be third year.
Yeah, I did not realize that. Cool.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Darren?
No questions, but I appreciate your information and what you're doing, and your ask makes it a very easy give.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You guys are definitely my favorite presentation.
All right, thank you very much, Darren.
Thanks.
Safe travels.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'll get my day underway.
Sounds good.
You guys stay there.
All right.
Bye. Thank you.
Hey Betty, can you hear okay? Okay, so I can move the table forward.
It would be maybe for the speaker, maybe a little closer if you don't mind.
Covered. So our next applicant isn't until 9:30, so.
I'm gonna mute us, Betty, until our next applicant's here, okay?
Okay, thank you.
We're back. And thank you so much for being here today.
That's why they were.
So, why don't you go ahead and start from the harbor?
Yeah, all right, well, thank you for having me. My name is Susan Prettyman Hartel, and I'm the Deputy Director of the Harbor. If you're not familiar already with our agency, our mission is to provide self-determination and hope to survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking. We were founded in 1976 by a group of volunteer women and a phone line. We're celebrating our 50th year serving survivors in Pennsylvania this year.
That's awesome.
And we've actually expanded to an agency that now has 24 employees. We do a variety of different things. One of the biggest things that we do is just overall advocacy for survivors. We do emotional support, safety planning, a lot of protection orders for survivors. And we have advocates that work with a lot of different populations. We have some that are specifically working with youth folks, some that work with members of the 2S LGBTQIA+ community. And I also have 6 advocates on staff that are bilingual bicultural, so we work with folks that speak Spanish. So that's one little aspect of what we do. We also have a really big prevention program. We have a couple prevention educators that go into schools, they go into point job corps, and they work with kids on workshops about sex, consent, healthy dating dynamics, what abuse looks like in the media, what digital tech abuse looks like. And they've actually kind of spanned out recently, and they're doing some bison intervention training. They just did a really large one actually at Seaside Middle School and High School with their faculty. So they trained about 50 people on how to intervene, see violence happening in their community. So that's another a little bit of what we do. We also have an emergency confidential shelter that's open to anybody, not just Clatsop County residents, but if somebody is fleeing from a different county, we recognize that sometimes it's safer to be here, just like some of our survivors are safer in other counties. So we have that available. And then another big part is what we requested funding for today, which is our domestic and sexual assault response team, which we love to call the DSART advocates. Those are our advocates that while we're all more in bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, if an assault happens, they get up, they'll respond to the hospital, they might go to a law enforcement agency if they're called. They sit with the survivor throughout the entire process. So they're offering emotional support. If it's in a hospital where if you experience sexual assault, the hospital will take all of your belongings, all of your clothes for evidence. So we're providing clothing for them, we're providing food for them. We're oftentimes taking them and finding a hotel in town where they can be. Some are safe until the next day, and our advocates will reach out to them. So those DSART advocates do a lot of work. It's really the first line of meeting with us. And without that, a lot of survivors would choose not to reach out because they wouldn't want to wait until the next day when something happens. So it's a very, very valuable program from Harbor, and I don't want to see us lose it.
Yeah, I have just a question, and that's great what you're doing, but, today's, emotional and mental abuse through coercive control is really starting to pick up speed, and wondering if, you anticipate offering, some support for emotional abuse rather than just physical abuse.
Yeah, I do, actually. And if a survivor were to call us in the middle of the night, if you start having people go out and respond to that also. We'll do, in the past, depending on how many, the capacity of the agency, they've looked at really trying to work with like intimate partner violence. But we've really expanded, so we will work with survivors of emotional abuse, financial abuse, elder abuse. We've even seen, some situations really that have like a high lethality case where you have an abuser who's even, abusing a animal. So we really will work for a broad spectrum of different types of abuse for people. Sometimes, depending on what that violence looks like, a response in person is not always the right answer. Like sometimes it's emotional support over the phone and then giving them a referral to an advocate the next day that might better be able to suit their needs. But the DSAR team typically will go out if it is like a high lethality situation. They will always respond to a sexual assault, even if the survivor doesn't want somebody to come. My requirement on my staff is that they at least respond to the hospital, sit in the waiting room for a little bit, because the survivor may change their mind once they realize what the situation actually is, and that, sometimes people in the hospital, the nurses and doctors are not the most trauma informed. So they may change their mind. So I do have them respond and at least sit in the waiting room and wait, and then after about an hour or so, if the survivor still doesn't want somebody there, they can come back home.
I'm very familiar with the work we do, and I appreciate all, having a special call. But I wanted to explore a statement that was in actually the, last year's valuation that Bill was asked for it. And it talks about, ways to improve the program and, indicates that, in order, to strengthen your ties to the Cannon Beach, South County area. Offering additional training opportunities, with partners such as medical providers and law enforcement, that kind of thing. Are there any roadblocks to being able to achieve that? Is there something that we could do to facilitate that additional training?
Yeah.
A big step.
Yeah, I think just helping us identify some of the different providers that want that training. So having had the entire staff go through the bystander intervention training is really, really beneficial, because now we can all, we do like a train the trainer type of course for people. We can even condense that into a smaller, like 1 or 2 hour training for people, just so that they can, get some ideas on how to intervene. And sometimes, it's not safe for somebody to intervene if they see violence happening, but other times there are some tips and tricks that you can do that actually will like stop people. Just, I know it sounds really obvious, but like yelling, making noise, like those kind of things can interrupt something that's happening, a moment of violence also. I will say that we are really, really trying to work with law enforcement again in Beach. Plaza County has a sexual assault response team, which we call SART team. And it includes different social workers from hospitals. It also has with law enforcement, our DA's office, victim advocates. And it has been really challenging for us to get law enforcement buy-in. I do feel like we're moving in the right direction. We've sent out some letters to different law enforcement. It seems like Cannon Beach law enforcement is really interested in coming and seeing what our SART group is about and seeing how they can better partner with us. It seems as though Seaside is actually really interested in that as well. And, our hope is that we'll get the same sort of buy-in from Astoria and Torrington.
Great. Well, I hope that does work out, and I mean, we'd love to to help with her, so you can facilitate that.
Definitely, yeah.
Thank you.
So I'm wondering also, you know, it's great that you're working with the, victims, survivors, that we call them, but what about the perpetrators? Do you get involved there so that they are finding some avenues for change of behavior, identifying, you know, some reasons that they're acting this way? You know, that seems, you know, the root of the problem is wonderful to help the survivor and give them all the support, but there's also the component of the abuser that needs to be dealt with, and just wondering what your role is for that.
Yeah, that's a really tough one, because oftentimes, we will have an abuser come to our office, and we typically don't offer any kind of services to an abuser, but they will come and say they're a survivor. So we do have that happen often, and in a relationship, there's always only one survivor. Even in one abuser, and even if there's abuse happening on both sides, it's typically reactive abuse that's happening. So a lot of what we do, we don't have really a batterers intervention type program, and I think if we did have one, it would be probably like the DA's office instead. So what we've kind of started exploring is, we've done one training on restorative justice, which is a process that a lot of people know that if a survivor goes to court, typically those cases don't actually go to trial. They're almost always settled out of court. And the amount of convictions that happen from domestic violence, sexual assault is very small. So restorative justice is a process where if the abuser is willing to go through it, and also the survivor is, it's where they can meet with, they could each have an advocate on their side, and they can meet kind of similar to how we are, although the survivor will get to kind of lead the way. They'll say, I'm gonna be the first person to enter the room. I want the abuser to be the person who executes for me. So I wanna be looking out the window so I can see the trees. That's gonna be more trauma informed for me. So the advocates on each side will really try to work to make it comfortable for both parties. And it's an opportunity for the survivor to say, you did something that caused harm to me, and you caused harm to our children, our relationship, our family, and it's an opportunity for amends to happen, for the abuser to say, you're right, I did A, B, and C. I'm seeking this sort of counseling. I'm going through this battery intervention program. And although we haven't done any actual sessions ourselves, there are specialists that do that. We want to be a little more trained before we offer that, because we want to make sure that both parties, the survivor and the abuser, receive the best services they can. And I don't feel like we're at that point just yet. I think we need to do a couple more trainings before we can actually unleash restorative justice practices.
Thank you. Does anybody have any other questions or comments? Well, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, you too.
That's important, you know.
Good morning. Hello, you guys can have a seat at the table, please.
It's the table.
Morning.
Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
All righty, go ahead and introduce yourselves and.
Well, I'm Marge Helston. I'm on the board of Cap Forum One. And this is,
I'm Neil Wallace, longtime member on the board, no longer on the board, but still active in, helping with capital projects, grant writing.
anything we can talk into.
I guess I'm now part of the group that's called the Friends of the Capital Law. I'm no longer officially on the board here.
So, we're, just a little background. The we have, Camp Qualong Board Inc. is the owner, has the deed for the 170 acres for Camp Qualong. Camp Qualong has a long history. It was started in 1930s and as a CCC camp and then preserved for the youth and community of Plaza County. The board received the deed from the county. We had a long-term lease about 7 years ago. However, that did not provide any funding, so the board is tasked with maintaining it, funding it, and promoting it. It really serves our whole county. There are many activities. It is an aged facility. We used to be, when I first came on the board, we used to have, I felt like I was on a ship that had 1,000 leaks and I didn't know which one was gonna sink us first. But we have slowly fixed some of those leaks and everything we try to do is to maintain and promote it.
Determination and perspicacity, we will prevail.
You have something.
Part of the charm of Camp Kawalong is the fact that it's approaching a 100-year-old. Built in the 1930s, it's very rustic, it's very charming. It's also part of the issue that we have is how do you take a 1930s Depression era work camp and make it a modern day accessible facility for children. There's a lot of work involved, and it takes a lot of help. We are really county based. We have children who come from well outside the county, but everything we do is prioritized for the county. The county, when we start enrollment, county gets enrollment opportunities first. The money that we raise for funding for scholarships for the local kids who can't afford to go, that's provided only in the county. That is if you're from Portland, Eugene, or Bend, or Seattle and want to come to camp, if there's room, we'd love to have you, but we're not going to pay you to come. That's strictly locally based. The project that we're working on now is one of those that it's taken a while for it to rise up the ladder, but old incandescent lighting fixtures and the old tube fluorescent lighting. And you can't buy those old tubes anymore. It's not that we have light fixtures that look like they're gonna fall on your head or anything. Everything has been well maintained, but it's out of date and it's inefficient. And that one of the things is hospital up for utilities and replacement bulbs, everything. If we can be more efficient, then it helps us in the long run. And that is the nature of this project. 5 of our buildings, 3 major buildings need some serious help with the lighting. We talked with the local electrical contractor who's worked with camp, been generous with us at camp on many occasions, and we received the bid. I know you folks have all of that information, and I do not want to sit here and talk about something that you all know about, but if you want me to go further or if you have questions, I'm happy to do this however you like.
I just appreciate your Camp Quantum. My kids went there 20 years ago or more, so I'm glad to see that you're still offering the program and making improvements as you can and see prioritized, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, I just, and then, and another note, I also want to Sparkmanship Committee, we just met last night, and we have provided for this current year scholarships for 80 children, currently and almost $20,000 worth of sparkieships, which seems to, which we also fundraise for too. So, and you have provided for that in years past. I would tell you that on this project, we, through these last few years, we've been slowly drilling as we do it. We try to make it as efficient as we can, as accessible as we can. And to do quality upgrades and not just put lipstick on pig, so to speak. And this seems like, I again counted the number of fluorescent tubes this morning. That's a lot of fluorescent bulbs. If we could get them replaced. Part of this upgrade that we're doing right this time, which is not included in this grant, we also have been replacing our hot water tanks with tankless ones, because for a long period of time, our buildings sit empty. And we don't want to heat the water, so we have the last building that has an old hot water tank that we're putting a tankless in. Are there any questions you have about this? Ask Rita.
I got a whole list of questions.
Thank you.
Polite from our part. I'm not from Patterson County, I'm not an original Oregonian, so we've heard of him. I can't even say the name correctly even today. Until you started submitting for these grants, and I was fascinated to learn the long history and I think it's wonderful. Do you think that what you offer is as well known in the South County as it is in the north part of the county? I mean, I know you give us, statistics or indications that you see kids from Canton Beach as part of your group.
Yes.
Is there anything that you could do or that needs to be done to make it more, I don't know, and I'm really just speaking from my own experience, because I didn't know about it, although I don't have any kids of that age.
That's a really interesting question, and that's a question we ask ourselves. How do we make ourselves known? We've been here a long, it's been here a long time.
Yeah.
We just had, we were in one of the feature homes at Assistance 3 last weekend. And I was at the table where people came in, and I am amazed that over 80% of the people that came in to camp and were new immigrants. They drive by, they don't know. It's not a unique facility, it's just unique for our area that we have this camp that is like all of the camps that we know in our previous history. And there it sits. And I'm amazed that people don't know. And we don't know how to get more people in. We try to outreach as much as we can.
Part of the reason that the camp exists is because of its location. It's tucked away. It's switched between Camp Riley and Fort Stevens. So it's not really on the beaten path. It is by the soccer fields, and there's certainly plenty of traffic goes by on Ridge Road. But our entrance into the actual camp facility is more of an easement. We don't have a lot of property down along the entryway. We share that with the Lower Columbia Youth Soccer group there at the soccer fields. And so there's not any big welcoming sign for Camp Kawanoa. You've arrived, welcome to camp. There's a little green street sign on the utility pole across the street, so Camp Kawanoa.
part of the reason we haven't done, we talk about that all the time, is the security. We have no one who's out there, it's locked, I'm trying to keep,
We've had some very serious issues with security in the past handful of years. People breaking in and stealing tools, stealing either camp truck. It goes on, vandalism. So it's not that we don't want to be known, but we are tucked back away. But as far as the South County, I think I'm from Seaside, been in Seaside for a long time. My son went to Camp Long. We learned about it very shortly after we moved to Seaside in 1993. I think he started there in 94. He went all through school. He loved it. He was a counselor and the waterfront director, and his kids are now going to camp, even though he lives over in Sandy now. He met his wife at camp. They were both counselors. They did a camp wedding. Camp's kind of in our blood. So in a way, it's hard when I hear people say Camp Long, because it's such a big part. Seaside's South County, not as far south as Cannon Beach, but some of my son's best friends are Cannon Beach people, and they went to camp together, and so I know it's there, but it's tucked out of the way. It's an unusual name. I'm not gonna bring it up because I'm not sure if it's Kabbalah or.
it's Kiwanis and Long. We are a long way, and there was a Girl Scout who submitted the name.
The Kiwanis helped secure that property for the Girl Scouts after the CCC was done with it. And they held a contest to come up with a name for the camp. And because of the Kiwanis organization's involvement, because it sits at the north end of Long Lake, one of the girls came up with Kiwanis Long. And there you go, another little history book.
I will do that.
But if you have any ideas, I would say that even if we have children who Cannon Beach all the time, we have people who work here in Cannon Beach who send their children to camp or come out with the school group or whatever. But it's still an issue for us, so I better ring up.
Well, it's a two-edged sword, is what you're describing. You don't want to be too well known in some ways, but you don't want to miss a child.
No.
That they have not community, knows their parents didn't know about it, and the child is written up where. I don't know, I don't have any great ideas, but I'd love to continue to think about it.
That would be wonderful to have you out there.
One question, I have been there actually and done some volunteer work on the trail, so I
Good.
really kind of enjoyed it, a couple of meetings.
We welcome you again.
It's the Society of American Foresters, they come out for teenagers.
Yes, they're great.
One question though I got for you, you're asking for a specific amount, it sounds like for a specific project.
Right.
A lot of times we're not able to grant the entire amount of requests. How would you scale this project? Should you get just a portion of what the request is? Would you look for other funds elsewhere, or to be part of the project? How would you address that?
I would look for funds elsewhere. I think once we start this project, it's not such a large project that I don't think we can raise more funds. This is the first year that we've come to you actually kind of with a capital project request. In the past, we just asked for financial support for the scholarship program. And you've been very generous with us, but it was suggested this year to go ahead. Let's go for.
I would say too, this is a kind of project we can do parts of it, as we have money. There'd be other things. One of the things when we first looked at this, we also had the hot water tank. We have raised funds to do that part of it already. That doesn't mean that we couldn't, but it's certainly a project that as we get the funds, and this is on our radar right now to do this, what we can, and then we will do what we can, and then we will do what we can.
That's always the final decision.
Yeah.
You can only do what you can. But I think given our standing in the community, the importance of the organization to people in the community, I think we can, if you can help, I think we can find some more help. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you all very much for your time and your support.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You do.
Oh, gosh. My brother stopped teaching school, I said I'd never sit in this chair.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good day, all.
Thank you.
Hi there.
It is. Yeah. But I'm going to push behind out there. Where is it?
Sorry.
It's rustic. Well, kids have, yeah, mosquitoes.
How you doing? Yeah, good. Thanks for being here today. Yeah. How is she? Then you go ahead and introduce yourself and share what you have.
All right, hello, I am Karen Hensgard and I am the executive director of the Wildlife Center of the North Coast. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. The Wildlife Center of the North Coast has been serving our coastal communities for 29 years now through our wildlife rehabilitation and conservation education, including direct service to Cannon Beach. Cannon Beach is not only a destination for people, but it's essential habitat for native wildlife. From nesting seabirds to marine mammals and migratory species that rely on the coastline. As coastal visitation increases and environmental pressures continue to grow, communities are seeing more wildlife emergencies tied to human activity. Things like fishing line entanglement, window strikes, vehicle collisions, and increasingly seabird strategies connected to climate change and changing ocean conditions. Our staff and volunteers now respond to thousands of wildlife-related calls every year. Last year alone, we cared for 105 animals directly rescued from Cannon Beach in our community. We also provide year-round wildlife hotline support to residents, visitors, law enforcement, and partner organizations, helping people navigate wildlife situations safely and appropriately. Beyond rehabilitation, a major part of our mission is helping people build a stronger connection to the coastal environment. Through our education program, we hosted summer camp out at the Wildlife Center, and last summer we had 58 kids out of the Wildlife Center for summer camp. We also host field trips. We hosted the entire third grade of Astoria school district. And we offer encounters with our ambassadors. We have 4 resident ambassadors that live in the Wildlife Center full time, and they do both on and off-site programming. 2 years ago, we started a pilot program with our resident double crested program for me to go into local schools and educate kids about seabirds and native wildlife and really develop that empathy at an early age. And since then, we've expanded into the Seaside School District. She's already been to Seabird Elementary 4 times a year, and she's going again in the coming weeks. She doesn't just go to schools though. She also does community programs. You might have seen her at the Kennedy History Center in Museum earlier this year during the Children's Birthday celebration. We also do educational talks around the community. So teaching people about our native wildlife and also how to respond to during wildlife emergencies. Earlier this year, our education coordinator, Annie, did one of those talks at the Kennedy Library. So you might have seen her there. We also do tabling and outreach events. Our most recent one, of course, the Earth Day was Street Fair. So we've been there doing that. And we maintain strong partnerships throughout our community. One of the strongest being with the Haystack Rock Awareness Program, where we on the ground to respond when wildlife activities are rescued. And through that partnership, we've really created a strong response atmosphere and reach. We also provide volunteer opportunities to community members who are in the activities. As a nonprofit, we receive no state or federal funding, so the funding from the city of Huntington Beach is crucial to help us provide our day-to-day care that's required for wildlife rehabilitation. So food, medical supplies, veterinary treatment, and facility operations, while also supporting our conservation education and production. The natural environment is one of the things that defines Huntington Beach, and protecting wildlife is part of protecting the character of this community. We're so grateful for the city's continued investment in conservation, education, and responsible stewardship of the water. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions or comments for Kari?
So, I'm very familiar with the operation in the night. I really value.
Thank
I was, piece of the last get together. I always feel proud and to the dollar up to. I was excited to hear, I believe I heard it, that meeting that, your pilot for reaching out to school kids is very successful, and that you're looking for ways to grow that, thing to cover more of the county, or I guess even wider than that. Is that on the radar?
It absolutely is. We are working on more than school districts that one's been hard to get into. But we're still reaching out to them and hoping to get in out schools. We have some programming that's scheduled at Jewel School. But they're going through some administrative schedule, but we're working on that too. So yeah, we are actively reaching out to as many schools as possible. It is one of the goals of the Wildlife Center that every student in Clackamas County gets a chance to meet for me. We made that a goal a couple of years ago, and so we are committed to that goal. We think it's really important for youth to develop that connection at an early age and start seeing the, the animals that they see on a day-to-day basis. They might think that they're just, oh, that blackbird, really developing connection with those animals. And we see that carry on through their lifetime. So kids that we had at summer camp when we were this tall are now going off into college, into these conservation fields, and it's really heartwarming to see, but also, reinforces the importance of that early birth experience and education.
So one of the things that you talked about was an increase in the release rate if you wrote, which I think is a really good thing, right? I mean, what do you attribute that to? Just
So we, wildlife greenhouse is a developing field, and so we're continuously looking at best practices. So seeking out professional development opportunities. We've also been able to advance our diagnostic equipment in our clinic. So we still don't have X-ray capability, which is something that we want, that we increase the tools that we can use to help wildlife. So we got a heart monitor, Doppler. I don't work in the clinic, so the medical terms are a little bit foreign to me, but we have blood test kits and we've got a centrifuge, and so a lot of new equipment. But also our partnerships in the community. So we're partnering with Columbia Vet, Victoria Animal Hospital, and Bayshore Animal Hospital. All of those facilities offer services on volunteers to the wildlife. So I think just strengthening our network and our
well, I just want to recognize that. That's great. All I got.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you so much, Kari. Nice to meet you. Yeah. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here. Hey, first one, come up. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. How's it going with you? So.
No.
Favorite?
So.
They're right after me, the posters for you. Okay, yeah, so yeah. We're all ready for you. Yeah. Nice to be here. Well, thank you for having us.
Yes.
Okay. It's here. Okay, so, this is Mike, he's the Legionnaire. And he's also the chaplain of the Legion, and he's been, served over 20 years in the Navy.
I'm Marilyn, I'm the Vice President of Auxiliary, who's in charge of membership. And I'm a Navy wife, the hardest job in the Navy. So first, we wanted to thank the city for all the support they've given us over the years. And for allowing us to shift some of the money when we had an emergency repair. A couple of years ago, we replaced the heat pump. Last year, we replaced the head refrigerator and we upholstered some of the chairs. And then with your consent, then we did we did the water heater because we had an emergency. And we repaired a little bit of the roof. So this year, we're asking for $8,075. We're looking to put in a new freezer in the kitchen. Fix the kitchen drain that was deferred from our grant last year. And replace some of the folding chairs. They're just like yours.
They wear out.
They do, and they get paid. So, those are the things we're proposing that we'd like to do this year with your help. So a little bit of history, in case you're not familiar, American Legion was chartered by Congress in 1919. That was after the First World War, when they didn't realize they knew what to do with returning veterans from World War I. The mission statement is to enhance the well-being of America's veterans, their families, our military, and our communities by our devotion to mutual helpfulness. Our post, Cannon Beach Post 168, was founded in 1947. And the building was gifted to us by the Van Fleet Lumber Company the next year in 1948. So we've been a part of this community for a long time, and we're grateful that we're here. We were granted 501c19. We're not a 501c3, but a 501c19 is the tax exempt status for organizations that specifically benefit veterans. The Legionnaires, like Mike, any veteran who served after 1941 and the active duty, they can also be a part of the Legion. It used to be just veterans of the wars when you were serving during wartime, but they changed that a couple of years ago. So it's anybody who served after 1941. The auxiliary, their spouses, grandmothers, mothers, sisters, and veterans. As membership, I had one person apply. She said that she wanted to join because her son was in the military. And I called her up and I said, well, you must be very proud of your son. She goes, yeah, I am. And I said, well, unfortunately, he has to be a member of the Legion for you to join the auxiliary. So I always explain, I could join because Mike is a legionnaire, heard of him, or my father who passed I could have joined on his account. So that's kind of where we're right in there. We also have the Sons of American Legion. Those are the males of all ages. So some of the things that we donate to our communities that we reach out. There's Lebanon, Portland, and Roseburg Veterans Home. It's a gift home gift shop. And what it is not gifts for the patients. It's actually for the patients to go to the gift shop to give those gifts to their family because they can't get out and do that by their own. There's a Portland Veteran Transplant we support, and we also give direct support to local veterans who need it. Last year, one of the Coast Guard families in Seaside was in a financial bind, so we donated to that cause. And at Christmas, we have gift baskets where local families with toys and games. Seniors, they can also receive a gift bags. Okay, we've also donated funds to community radio, Cannon Beach Fire and Rescue, Cannon Beach Food Pantry, Cannon Beach Seaside Kids, and at least 4 scholarships for teenagers in Seaside High School. Some of the other events we have is Christmas basket I talked about. We do the 4th of July parade. And last year, the veteran who was in the Grand Marshal would rock with it. So some of you may know rock. And we always appreciate Bruce's Candy Kitchen. They bring the best candy and they throw it out to everybody. And in fact, they're very supportive of the Christmas baskets too, because they donate bicycles to kids. They come on Christmas. Memorial Day, we have a service on Burr Bridge, and the poppies are distributed on that day. And if you look hard enough, you're going to find us in every volunteer group in Cannon Beach. Our volunteers, our members are volunteers at Cannon Beach Library, Cannon Beach Food Pantry, Cannon Beach History Center, Cannon Beach Market, Cannon Beach Arts Association, the Tolman Arts Association, the Wildlife that you just heard, and the Cannon Beach Choir. Now, some events these are the events that are open to the public, at the post. Monday night burgers and jam, every week. They come back with an oyster and fish feed. We have a crab feed, karaoke night, taco dinner, bunko, Cinco de Mayo, we had a party, St. Patrick's Day, we had a party. We have monthly breakfast, we're gonna host a sandcastle breakfast. We have an annual garage sale and an annual cracker fair. And we're also one of the few ported buildings that people can rent for events in Cannon Beach. We have a full kitchen and a full bar, so that's something really attractive for different events like, Huts that comes up in June. They usually have their silent auction in our building at the end of Huts. And some people have celebrations for life, for birthday or their anniversary. Oh, we've also started our own capital fund. Last year when we presented you guys, somebody had mentioned raise the roof. You have a raise the roof fundraiser so you can, I think it was, who's that there?
Betty.
It was, I think she said, anyway, our roof needs being repaired. It needs to be replaced, actually. So we started with the raise the roof program to increase our capital fund. But we appreciate the grants so we can work to raise our capital fund. So right now, just with the Legionnaires, we've raised 7,000, and we're hoping to raise at least 19,000. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, on the plus side, our insurance went down. Because it's based on value, not on replacement value. And they reduced our value because of our orders. Now that gives you an idea of kind of a problem. Yeah, it's one of our top priorities is, the So with, excellent idea, let's have a raise the roof fund, like we got a awful kind of slow start, got stuff set up. Now some of our more active members are help lead the charge and we're hoping to really get out into the community, get some good feedback and assistance from general community as opposed to just Legionnaires. So it's something that we have to really struggle to get, because the membership is down, in all organizations. So we have to really struggle to get out and it's much important.
So that's why we appreciate the grants, help us with the inside things and we're working on their capital.
The Don got quote for about 32,000 for work. And they may pull that off.
We also need a new stove and grill.
Yeah, the stove really, in fact, if we had been ready and had a good set of quotes and a plan on for grill or stove and grill, that would be here instead of some other, but for such a high priority.
So we're glad to be part of the community and we appreciate all the help that you provide us.
Yeah, and that if you haven't been in, that you need a kitchen and a bar. Right, place. The fee we charge is pretty nominal, and it's even less for, membership. And it's zero if you're not profit, like, full bus. So, we try to do our best to get support.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Good question.
Very thorough.
Okay.
And I appreciate the background too, although I've seen you several years.
Yeah.
learned a lot. I was gonna ask about the race for, managers covered that too. So all I wanted to do was say that as I look around, the Legion, is one of those anchors that is part of it. I would hate to see it change. I would hate to see it not be there. That's an interesting point, because we just repainted and are continuing to repaint inside, being more attractive to people that want to rent.
Someone down burger night.
Yeah, it's really good version price.
Sure, Bryce, for sure, yeah. All right, thank you.
No, I'll just say that it, agree with everything Les just said, and I just think it showed really well for your organization when you came with the request last year, that your needs changed. That you communicated that back, you get approval to be able to, some of that money was earmarked and wanted to earmark it elsewhere. I think that just really shows your communication and honesty and how you can deliver when you receive grants on performance of that. So it makes it easier, in my opinion, to recommend additional grants to you, knowing that how you're gonna be good fiduciary managers of that grant money.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Patrick.
Be ready for next.
Sure, come on. Okay.
Thanks. Oh. Yeah, that's right.
Well, I have a little presentation, I guess I'll do that first.
Thank you.
So hello, I'm Patrick Lathrop. I consider myself a theatrician. I have over 45 years of experience in theater education and currently have the honor of serving as the executive director of the Coaster Theater Playhouse. The Coaster Theater is a historic building that's over 100 years old and was originally the Waves roller skating rink. It's been a performance space since the late 1960s, once featuring an upstart band called Paul Revere and the Raiders. In the early 1970s, it was developed along with the rest of Cannon Beach Village and became the Coaster Theater. And in 2027, we'll be celebrating our 55th anniversary. Coaster Theater provides plays, musicals, concerts, special events, and theater programs for children. We recently developed a Saturday workshop for kids that have produced Alice in Wonderland, Willy Wonka Jr., Haystack Rocks, and Aesop's Fables. And every year that increases. Willy Wonka had 25 kids. Alice in Wonderland this last spring, I had over 30 kids. Coming this fall, Saturday workshop will be Munchkin oriented, which will feed into our holiday show of The Wizard of Oz. This workshop program is a direct growth from the success of our kids camp program for ages 8 to 12 in grades 3 to 6, which is why I'm here today to ask for funding for our summer camp. Each camp focuses on 3 common aspects of theater arts: acting, singing, and dancing, with the visual art component as well. In addition to improving confidence and creativity, campers are exposed to teamwork, respect, and unlimited imagination while creating a show of their own. This summer, it's going to be a little different this summer. The theme is trains and boats and planes. I don't know if you remember that song. Trains and boats and planes. That's all I know. Anyway, and it will include a field trip to ride the Astoria trolley and tour the train locomotive. And then the students will then write a monologue about that experience, and that's what they will present as part of their theater experience. Some of our past themes have been You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, I Am Me, My Pet Monster, and Back to Broadway. And I haven't yet determined the 2027 theme. And that's what I'm asking for today for 2027. I received funding for this summer, but we haven't spent it yet because camp isn't until late July. Our camp program staff include me, our
camp director and a yoga instructor counselor. And I try to bring on board a counselor too, which are usually students who have outgrown age-wise, but still want to be part of camp. Funding from your grant will allow our kids camp tradition to continue in the summer of 2027 by covering the cost of the camp director and yoga instructor through the community grant. We can offer these camps at a minimal cost, possibly reaching potential families and demographics that may not look to programming like this due to financial restraints. I hope you'll consider our request. And does anybody have any questions?
No questions, just applause.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the Saturday program that you mentioned earlier on, I don't think I'd heard of it before. If you're getting more kids to participate year over year, how do you reach out to them? How do they hear about the program?
It's really word of mouth. It's very family oriented. The parents, they all know each other, the kids all know each other. So it's like, oh, last year I did this, and it's a lot of fun. Oh, but maybe Billy can join this year. So it's a lot of word of mouth. Yeah.
My granddaughter did a summer camp one year, she loved it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a little different from the Saturday program because it's a little more fun. There's more games and breaks, things like that. The Saturday one is very focused on getting the production.
So you want more?
Thanks.
Anybody else have any questions or comments for Patrick? No? Okay,
All right.
thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Yeah, enjoy the day. It's not gonna be dreadful.
Never.
All right, Betty, I'm gonna mute us, okay? So we got a little break, I guess, now.
Oh, they were gonna be ahead of you, but they have state testing today, so they asked to go later. So, yeah.
Well, I have some handouts. No. This part of campus is.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Righty. Thank you for being here today.
Well, I'm Summer, the gallery director, and this is Kim, our camp director. And then Lila's supposed to be here too, but I think she's got 10:50 in her brain. Oh, it's great. Anyway, so, you wanna wait for her? We don't necessarily have to. She's just more on, if there's any numbers questions. Okay, so we are the Camping Arts Association, and we're requesting funding from $18,674, which will support summer art camp, exhibition programming, scholarships, and individual arts grants. Our programming serves children, family, artists, and visitors throughout Cannon Beach. Our summer art camp serves grades K through 12 and is an accessible, supportive space where kids can learn and build meaningful connections. This year's camp will include printmaking, watercolors, found object assemblages, and door making. The schedule will take place July 13th through the 17th at the Cannon Beach Community Church. We will close out the kids pop-up exhibition at the gallery on Saturday the 8th. Which I think is really important to build the confidence of kids in their or in professional space. This will be our 4th year of doing summer art camp. We also offer scholarships to camp and keep tuition affordable to ensure children of all socioeconomic backgrounds have access to the arts and opportunity. In addition to our youth programming, our exhibition program and gallery space support local and regional artists. From May to September, we present a rotating schedule of exhibitions and community group shows. This year, for example, we're doing, we have mechanical abstraction and seascapes, fire, time, and natural beach objects. Each exhibition includes opening receptions that bring residents and visitors together. In a welcoming space that fosters connection and strengthens the visibility of the arts and beach. We also invest directly in emerging and practicing artists through scholarships and individual artist grants. Each year we award scholarships to graduating seniors from Susan High School. we're pursuing degrees in art related fields. And our individual artist grant program supports coastal-based artists, the funding development work. So community grant funding is integral to ensure that we can continue to offer accessible art programming year round, and the arts are vital and cherished part of communities' identity, art communities. Anybody have any questions?
Some of those are for me, if there's any questions. Thank you.
I have a couple of questions. I'm interested in, the artist grants. So we've got two artists that have been funded for project. What's the timing on that? Are they working on their projects now, and when will you see?
Yeah, so you award them in October. And then they have a year to, do their project, and that usually culminates in a, 1 year.
So.
We started a little early. See? You have a question, Matt?
Well, I was gonna ask a question, I saw the note, about the restricted donation for endowment fund, I think that's a one we want to use. Is that something new, or has our association had a backup fund or our working for all?
Yeah. So years ago, in the 90s, we were requested in a download fund, and it had restrictions on it that there's a certain amount you can take out for emergencies, but the board needed to approve. And then there's funding in there that if you needed it for emergencies, you could utilize it, and it takes a bigger process. But then, last year, Tom Allison gave us an endowment in, his wife died in 2004, and she was an artist, and it was very thoughtful in the Arts Association. So he gave us a specific endowment that we would have an event every year for 10 years. Good thing summer's young, that's all I can say. That we have an event every year for 10 years, and the recipient or the person who won for their submission was competitive, would get money for their application. And so that's why it's called, it's a direct one. It's only to be utilized for that. And we actually, the reason you see a small amount in there in our budget is because we had it in a regular, a CD account to get the better interest and all that business. And it was like last 6 months, and then you have to fuss around with it again. So we put it in for a larger endowment. This was a separate subsection. That's probably like long.
Well, yeah, just my question, but I just think that that's great, when we can get those kinds of requests, so it's a right. Thank you.
Well, one question, and maybe, sorry, if the answer to this, is in your presented material, that you have, but, so I just seen, I was impressed that you were down to the exact dollar that you're requesting for, so that means that it's earmarked. This is earmarked specifically to put on the summer arts camp, that correct? And then, but you do several other activities, you're saying that this money is not allocated to that, this is earmarked for the camp. And then I see that you charge for the camp also. So I'm just, wondering how much of that request is actually gonna go to put the camp on? And then is it subsidized by the fee for the camp, or, and then if this was extra money, you use it for grants or scholarships? Just wondering how you're asked specifically it's gonna be allocated.
Yeah, so, we just want to keep camp affordable. It's a really big program to put on, so we don't wanna charge like $500 a week, so it subsidizes and goes to keep our costs low.
Okay.
But this request supports like a myriad of projects, but I do think the bulk goes towards camp, right? That's where it goes.
Okay. And then the scholarships, I mean, there are individuals that can't even pay the $75 that are able to participate for free.
In summer.
Yeah.
But then we also have scholarships for Seaside seniors.
Okay.
And this year we were able to give three seniors $500. And the thing, they submit an application and they have to have letters of reference from their teachers and all those things. And the applications are, and they have to be interested in art. But the applications are really moving because they're passionate about pursuing their art career. And some of them are, like one of them, her parents got divorced during their senior year and there's scarce funding. It's really, makes us feel honored to be able to give people, just a little leg up for their pursuit of their career.
Yeah. Thank you for that. That's all I have.
Anybody else, Betty, do you have anything? Open. Oh, okay, great, okay, thank you very much. Sorry, I missed your intro. She did a great job.
Yeah. Oh, I knew she would.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, we're gonna mute. All right, raise your hand, give me 1 second. All right, Katie, I'm gonna get your presentation queued up here and then you can go, or Stacy will let you know when you get.
Ready, Trevor?
1 second.
Hello there, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Just give us 1 moment, okay? And I guess you have to kind of give me a signal when you want me to scroll down.
Okay, yeah, just let me know when to start.
Yeah, we're ready, go ahead, Katie.
Okay. All right, great. Well, hello, everybody. Sorry I am under the weather today. Otherwise, I would have loved to join you in person. I can't see everybody who's there. Would you mind just a quick little introduction of who's in the room?
I'm Trevor Mountain. I'm the Assistant Public Works Director here.
Mark Morgan is committee member.
Maybe Beaver.
Stacy Benefield.
Wes Sinclair.
Sherry Scott.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you, Katie, hope you feel better soon.
Oh, thanks, me too. Well, thanks again for running this grant program and inviting us to present today. Our application is a request of $6,000 towards our community engagement program. And I wanted to share just a few visual aids for what the real results of the community engagement program are. I'm Katie Volke. I'm the executive director with North Coast Land Conservancy, and Lynette Villagomez is a Cannon Beach resident, recent recipient of the Gaylord Nelson Award, and also our community engagement program director, but she's on vacation this week, so was unable to attend as well. We are focusing this grant and presentation on our programs that are more central and directly related to the community of Cannon Beach. And our work spans from the Columbia River to Siletz Bay, and we do community engagement all up and down that corridor. But our office and our home base is there in South Seaside, and a lot of our people and supporters are really from Gearhart to about Cannon Beach. So a good amount of all of our programming and our focused work on conservation and stewardship and education really does happen in kind of the Cannon Beach area and the surrounding communities. So here on the slide, you see an example of our marine program in action. We adopted a marine program a few years back. It started focused on the Cape Falcon Marine Reserve. It was a merger of the Friends of the Cape Falcon Marine Reserve group into the North Coast Land Conservancy. And so our marine program partners with Haystack Rock Awareness Program quite a bit, as well as some other familiar groups like Surfrider and let's see, formerly Audubon. The new name is escaping me. And then with this, it's the Marine Debris Program. And so we have volunteers, local volunteers who adopt sections of the beach and not only pick up the garbage, but also catalog it so that it can be part of a larger community science program. Could go to the next slide. So in these slides, I'm just highlighting not all, but a good variety of the types of community engagement programming that we do locally and that this grant would support. So here again, highlighting our marine program is some tabling that's happening down at Short Sands on this day, and then also a Tide Pool Ambassador program that is happening down at Short Sands and in the Cape Falcon Marine Reserve, modeled after the strong program of Haystack Rock Awareness Program. It's a conservation and stewardship protection of the tide pool program through education. And so we have volunteers and staff members, seasonal staff members who are down at the tide pools regularly, especially during the busy summer season. They have thousands of interactions with locals and tourists. The vast majority of them very positive interactions. And it does directly protect the rocky intertidal habitat life out there, such as the sea stars and the anemones. Could go to the next slide. As an expansion of the marine program outside of just focusing on the Cape Falcon Marine Reserve, we're also involved in the Rocky Habitats Management and Protection Program that's going on, and Chapman Point and Ecola Point are the recently named protected areas. And so again, partnering with folks like City of Cannon Beach and Haystack Rock Awareness Program and some others around the initial stages of a protection through education program that could also happen at Chapman and Ecola. So there's not a timeline for when a program like that will be fully implemented on the beach. But in the meantime, finishing up the work with the Rocky Habitat Management program and implementation at the state level, and then starting to do some of this initial planning work so that we can expand some of these education programs, because of course, people on the beach at the tide pools is what ultimately makes these designated areas really achieve full sort of protection through that awareness. Go to the next slide. Of course, we really enjoy doing community tabling. Every year we come to the 12 Days of Earth Day in Cannon Beach, farmers markets up and down the service area, and a whole lot of other places where we might be invited to participate in some of the local table-in events. So this is a part of our community engagement program. We have staff time dedicated to it, and then a whole lot of volunteer support that allows us to get out into the community and really share a lot about stewardship and education through some of these fun ways where we bring, like this is an example of the tide pool felt board, really nice way to engage kids and families in coming in and learning more about the program. We often have maybe an art activity that's real easy for people to participate in. And then of course, a number of educational materials that we can share with folks. Go to the next slide. Here's just some more examples of the types of programs that we can do throughout the year. So of course, in the months where it's pleasant to be outside, we try to get outside on the land and near the water as much as possible. This was a particular event that happened just recently. And again, kind of highlights some of those local partnerships that we're all working on when we're doing these types of education programs. This one was actually a killer whale watch party. And they did not see killer whales, but they did see gray whales on that day. Next slide. In the more sort of winter, rainier, darker months, we take advantage of all kinds of local expertise for art workshops or lecture series, presentations. This is in our community room that's at Circle Creek, just a mile north of the junction. So again, really accessible, I think, too, for the community of Cannon Beach when we're putting on these activities. This was a specific marine themed origami workshop. It was really nice. It brought out a variety of ages. As you know, that's not always the case with some of our local workshops. And so to see, whole family groups come out, not only learn about the Marine Protection Program, but also get to engage in some fun art. You can go to the next slide. Other presentations, you can see we partnered with the Haystack program and the Oregon Shores to do a puffin presentation, and just a variety of other sort of wintertime, continue to learn about stewardship and conservation opportunity presentations. Next slide. But maybe the most fun, most rewarding program that we have been able to implement just in the last about year and a half has been working with all of the fourth graders in the whole Seaside School District and the Cannon Beach Academy to come out on field trips, get to touch and feel nature firsthand, and then also do a nature journaling sort of workshop with some of our volunteers and with their teachers. And so here is a picture of all of the Cannon Beach Academy students out with our staff and volunteers on a field trip into the Acola Creek Forest Reserve, and also a second field trip out to the Circle Creek Conservation Center. This was for some of these kids, maybe even most of these kids, the first time that they had been to either of these places, and the first time that they had done something called nature journaling, which really what nature journaling is taking some time to sit a little bit quietly out in nature and just observe everything that's going on around you. Take that in and maybe jot down some notes or draw some pictures. It's really about having that moment to have that immersive experience in the great outdoors and really take in how valuable it is to then care for these natural spaces. We think about kids as the future, but they're the future really soon. And so particularly for fourth graders, these guys are already 10. So 10 more years from now, these are all of the 20-year-olds in our community. They're our next leaders. And for them to be able to have this type of really expansive experience in their youth. I'm sure you all can remember that field trip or that time that was just so memorable in school. And all these kids wrote us thank you notes afterwards that would just bring you tears of joy. So really excited to be able to continue to work on this program, which is with Cannon Beach Academy and also Pacific Ridge Elementary School. So we can look at the next slide. This is them out on Circle Creek, sitting next to the creek, little example of their nature journals. And we can go to the next slide. And then here again, the kids in Seaside making their journal was a part of it. So a real hands-on experience, actually making their own journal, putting the papers together, getting to decorate it, really have it be their own, and then get to take it out into the field. Next slide. And I'll let you read these cute thank you notes. I think we take it for granted sometimes. We live in this beautiful environment and we think that kids must get outside and play outside and enjoy these natural spaces all the time. But what has become really clear to me, not only as a mother of school-aged children, but also in interacting with all of these fourth graders, is that it's really the minority of kids, not the majority of kids, who are getting outside and playing in these wonderful places. So, you know, these one-time field trips for many are going to be one of the most impactful outdoor experiences that they've had in their youth. And so, you know, being able to grow up our local kids that way so that they can and not only just know that this is their home, but also be moved to care for it and be good caretakers of it as they grow into adults is really a main driver of this program. So that's what I wanted to share with you today, was so that you could see a bit more about what our community engagement program looks like and the variety of offerings that we have and all the folks that come out to it.
Thank you, Katie. Anybody have any questions or comments, Katie?
No questions, but just wanted to thank you, Katie, and also wanted to offer condolences for the recent passing of your organization's founder, Neil Main. He's a great man, and we're going to miss him greatly, but we know that you're covering his shoes and his legacy of forever.
You know what, Mark? That is not, I think you've gotten some misinformation.
Oh, thank goodness.
Oh,
Thank
wow.
goodness.
There is it. I wonder if it's because of there's an honoring in Seaside, and I think it's being called sort of a tribute memorial of a plaque that's being installed in Seaside. But I just saw Neil last week. Though he is, you know, he does have some illness, and it won't just be forever that we get to have him, but we still get to have him for a while longer.
You know, my comments still stand except for the condolences. Great
Yeah,
man, so.
he is amazing.
Thank you for the correction.
Katie, this is Claire. When I read the look back portion of our application packet, it looked like there were several opportunities for being in front of the public down here in Cannon Beach that didn't come to pass last year for various reasons. And some, you know, some notes about some possible things that we were working on going forward. And probably Lynette's the one who knows what those are. But I'd like to know if there was anything that we or I can do to help make sure you have the opportunity to be seen in the public here at Cannon Beach in the south part of the county.
Oh, well, thank you for the offer. And I didn't quite hear the question. Are you saying that we proposed doing some things in Cannon Beach and then we did not do them? Is that what the question is about?
Yeah, it really wasn't a question, it was kind of a comment, on, the fact that a couple of those opportunities didn't work out, and there's a note that talks about we're considering partnering with a local business, to table at an establishment this summer. Those sort of outreaches, I think, are very important, and I just wanted to recognize that maybe there was something that we as the Parks Committee could do to help facilitate that if they're not working out for whatever reason.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I might not know the specifics. You're right. Maybe I could ask Lynette and follow up, but I think it's probably has more to do with just, we plan a year or two ahead of time and then, things just change. And they're not all within our control. So I think we try to make ourselves really available to take advantage of the opportunities when they arise. And sometimes it's just that event that one thought was going to happen maybe isn't going to happen, or it's going to start happening every other year. I feel like it might be more along those lines where we anticipate the possibility of something, but they don't really get firmed up until much closer to the date. And that's particularly true with this program as opposed to some of our other programs of like a restoration project or an acquisition project. Those have some pretty, a lot sort of harder, firmer deadlines and such. I think the community engagement program is meant to be pretty fluid with the community itself. So, sort of in the moment, we might be just making a decision, like, are we going to go here or there? Or maybe there's a new event entirely that sort of got envisioned by the community within the last year, and we opt to participate in that one instead. But I don't think there's anything that's a hindrance. There's nothing that comes to mind where I could have that thought of like, oh, if only the Parks Committee did this or that. I think it's other things.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions for Katie? All right, Katie, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you all. Nice to see you. Take care.
Can you mute us for 1 second, Trevor?
All right, they're on.
Great, thank you. Hello. How are you, Bradford?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I wondered,
Hey,
I
thank
figured
you.
I would come on when the time was appropriate.
Yeah, thanks for being here today. We're ready for you to start.
Excellent, I'll do that. I want to really thank the Cannon Beach organizations and the entire city for its support of Restoration House over the last several years. Last year's funding was very, very critical to us because we ran into a certain number of problems with our relocation. In the presentation I had in red where we had to pivot over the last year. Because of inflation and really our relocation of our existing residents, we had to seriously pivot our direction from a single room occupancy or SRO program. And we were fortunate that we ran into an architect named Stuart Edmond, who had been with the project early on, but he came to us with this brilliant concept of micro studios. And we were able to adopt his innovation, so to speak. And it not only did it allow this project to move forward aggressively, but it also brought it in within budget. So we had actually gone up to almost 2.5 million as of the end of middle of last year on this project. We've been able to bring it over under 2 million now with the micro studios. But so it's been a long journey. It's been a very educational journey for me because I'm not a developer. I'm sort of a guy that runs a nonprofit. And over the years of just having to deal with all the issues, I've been able to at least assemble a great team. We have the Klosh Group, that's our project management team. Stuart Edmonds is our architect. Christian Zapanic is our legal advisor. And we're moving ahead very, very, very well. We broke ground last week, by the way. So we've actually started construction after 3 years. 3 years it's taken to get this project up. So we're excited about it. We're asking the city of Cannon Beach to help us with a lot of the renovations to the main house, because the micro studios will be a separate structure. And the landscaping, retaining walls, just all the incidentals that are going to go around this project, which total about $70,000. So we're trying to raise the money for that. And you all have been immensely helpful over the last couple of years in helping us keep this project moving. And we should have occupancy by the end of the year, believe it or not. The micro studios are built off-site down near Salem. They're going to be flat bedded up, 10 units. And here's the amazing thing about this. When we had the SROs, our effective cost per unit was close to 200,000. With the micro studios, we've been able to bring that down. We originally thought it was going to be 98,000. We have it now down around 70,000 per unit. So this has been allowing us to get well in the budget. We're really excited about this. I'm open to questions.
Thanks. Do you have any questions?
Thank you for for giving us the updates. It has been an arduous process, I'm sure.
You have no idea. You know what the biggest problem we faced is that we have 15 gentlemen living there right now. And we were going to do the original architectural SRO design, which was an addition off the building. We were going to have to relocate them. And there was really no place we could relocate them, given the clientele that they represent. The micro studio concept allowed us to build a separate structure so they can remain in the unit where they are now. So that was a huge relief.
Yeah, I think that's very clever. And I'm interested in the modular design. You know, it seems like that may be a way to address a much broader range of housing needs than just your application. But I'm glad that something has worked out for you.
Well, you know what's really interesting about this is that everybody from Oregon Health Authority, OHA, to the mayors of Seaside and Astoria even, are blown away about why this hasn't been done on the coast yet. So we've sort of walked in to just trying to get some additional housing, for our clientele, to all of a sudden creating an innovation in sort of, housing for people that have experienced housing insecurity or homelessness. And it's affordable. It's affordable. Now we have supportive housing. That means that we're building sleeping units, basically. They have their own bathroom so they can preserve dignity and independence. They have wonderful living quarters with desk, a little micro kitchen. It's not a kitchen, but we have industrial kitchen in the main house. We have the laundry facilities in the main house. The community areas are on the main house. And what we've done at Restoration House over the last 20 years is we built a real sense of community with our people. So everybody looks out after one another. So this is like a perfect solution for that supportive housing concept. Living quarters that are independent and preserve dignity. I'm going to say we lucked into it, but we got into it regardless.
Congratulations for coming up with it. And I hope it leads to other organizations being able to take advantage of that kind of an efficiency on the coast. But I was going to ask, did I understand that once you got the facility, you moved your current clients into their new rooms, you're going to convert the existing room within your existing facility into more of a short-term type housing?
That's an excellent question. Thank you for that. We have two major referring partners, Clatsop Behavioral Healthcare, which actually is going to be the major source for the new units they have to be with individuals that have serious and persistent mental illnesses. So by contract with the OHA, we have to have that as the residential requirement. It's sort of unusual, but that's what it is. The existing house, we have a relationship with Collapsed Community Corrections. So we do take a certain number of people that come right out of prison that are looking, to get a foothold, a helping hand to move a step forward. And we're going to continue doing that. It's more transitional housing. But in addition to the transitional beds, which are about 10 units or 10 beds, we're going to have another 5 SROs or single room occupancy that are actually SROs in the main house that are going to be for more long-term stay. Our mission has really evolved over the last 5 years. We were very transitional going into 2020. We are hardly transitional at all right now because everybody's staying longer. Our average stay used to be like 3.5 months. It's now almost 3 years. So it's really changed. People like the community. They like the supportive housing concept and being able to live independently. And the house is really nice. It's a beautiful Victorian. And we're going to try to keep that character with the new facility. But, as our missions changed, we've changed. But the main house will still accommodate correctional people coming in on the short term.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Anybody have any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you so much, and we'll see you again in just a few minutes.
I know. I'll change my hats. Thank you. We appreciate you all so much.
Yeah, you really wouldn't know. Yeah. Okay.
Very good, thank you. Good morning.
Thank you for being here.
My name is Paul Araceli. I am the director of the Center West. We have our office here in Suicide. I was here last year.
Thank you. So go ahead and start whenever you're ready. Thank you.
Okay, so I applied for funding for our Hispanic Heritage Celebration. It's we already have 2 years in celebration, it's gonna be the third. And this celebration is in conjunction with the Dano Beach Soccer league that is start we also support the Hispanic group with that we help them to reserve the park so they can have the game. Or the season is starting in May and they finish in September. And the last game is when we do the Hispanic Heritage Celebration, and we also have the opportunity to do a fundraiser selling money. They cook the food. We buy all the ingredients for this, and they collaborate and volunteer and cooking the food, and we sell the food, and we use the money we have it for families in need, like the last year we had this ice donation, and we be able to use this fund for provide food or essentially. It's not much money, but we can work with it, right? So that is the main goal of this Hispanic Heritage. Also, this is a good opportunity for cross-cultural and celebrate together, and there is so much racism around. We also, this is a good opportunity to show people that we are not criminals, we are part of the community, we are here, and this is our culture. If we want to keep our culture, part of the mission of the Central West is that is the root
and availabilities and pass through our needs. So the computer dance is one of our programs that we are doing with the school right now, because with the administration, we cannot do, we have to do in a safety way. And we now have a contract with Wellington School and Seaside School. So we are having this like an extra activity in the school. And so the dancer are the kids. So guys, like that. This is the way that we pass to the kids this and keep this celebration. Do you have any questions? I don't
Wonderful celebration.
I don't have some pictures here that I take last year. Okay. So you can, do you have this use? This usually is about 350 people, not all at the same time, because we start by 5:30 to 8 p.m. So people go back all day. And people start coming early.
So everybody gets a chance to take a look.
Nice.
I just wanted to say that I really value what you do. I think it's a wonderful opportunity to bring everyone together, not just
Yeah.
one part, one culture. I think that's really very.
Yeah, I know that, last year was my first time, doing it, and I know that people enjoy so much, and you really buy the video, with them like that, the folklore and the, fun way to get all together and. Yeah.
I love it very much.
Anybody have any questions? Comments? Those are great photos, by the way. Thanks for sharing those. Yeah.
I think it's a wonderful organization, everything that you're doing, it's,
Thank you.
yes.
We are going to just start in 2024, and we are planning for the cultura, in art, at this moment, in, so it's very important to develop our region, cultural, art, and education. And of course, advocacy, we want.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll get you your photos. I don't think, no, does anybody else have questions?
Well, I went to the event last year. It was amazing.
Yeah, delicious. Yeah.
Well, the community, they volunteer and put all their talent, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go back for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So you know at this moment, what rate, that will be this coming, this year.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Wednesday, 16, September 16,
Number 6.
maybe more, hopefully not, but it's the day we have. And we also figured out the reservation for the bar, and waiting for this.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you again. We look forward to being at the event.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, have a good day.
Thank you very much for all this, for.
Yeah.
Really.
Glad you could make mine. Yeah. So this will be Sunday summer program. Hello again.
Hey,
Thank you for coming back for Sunday supper program.
absolutely. I just to kind of clarify the obvious question, what am I doing with the Sunday program, supper program? I'm the music director of Our Lady of Victory Catholic Church, and I'm a musician. I saw some of you last year at the Chelsea LaFay concert out on the in the public park last. I guess it's close to Labor Day, so that was a lot of fun. Sunday supper. I've been with Our Lady of Victory since probably 2019, and I've marveled at this program. It's been around nearly 40 years, and every Sunday they serve um, people with food insecurity. No questions asked, no requirement. Anybody that comes gets fed. There's no ceremony around it. There's no questions. There's no speeches. Nothing. It's just a community being fed. And they've done that for nearly 40 years once again. Currently, they're feeding almost 300 people every week. A lot of them come in and are fed within the parish hall. And then there are a lot that are actually delivered out in the different areas, the different campgrounds and things like that. And that's throughout the county. Um, I have an MBA in nonprofit with the head, especially in nonprofit management. And I've sort of transitioned from a early career adulthood in the financial world to more giving back over the last 10, 15 years. And so I'm really involved with a number of nonprofits. And it just seemed to me like a very logical step for me to help this program that I saw was going to have sustainability issues going forward. Um, the most crushing need that we have is that when they built the wonderful industrial kitchen in the parish hall, they had a very large walk-in freezer, but that's been a long time ago. I mean, this thing's aged out way past its expiration date. And they've already lost a lot of food over the last several years because of this thing just failing. So we're going to have to transition and move to a different freezer concept. And I have in my need, we're going to try to buy three the freezers that I itemized. And we're looking for help from the various county agencies and cities to be able to afford this. We do not raise money any other way except through donations and grants. There's no cash flows or anything that associated with this program. Um, but it exists on volunteerism. Anyway, so we're looking for help to buy these freezers. And I'm putting the request at 15. I know that's probably really high for you all, but anything you can give us with this would be greatly appreciated. It's going to be much needed. Uh, I'm looking forward to really, I'm not running the the Sunday supper program. I'm just actually offering some, you know, advice and consulting dealing with fundraising and organization. And I really see that we can exist for another 40 years, hopefully, with the changes that are already being implemented. So I'm open to questions.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I did have a question. You may not be the right person to answer it. This is the first time I've been made aware of the program. But I can appreciate, that it's important, that it's been very successful. The literature that was submitted with the application seemed to differentiate this kind of program as being what I think is pronounced as a congregate meal, as opposed to maybe the kinds of food that is supplied by other organizations that also run soup kitchens or those kinds of things for people that need that kind of assistance. And I was wondering, first of all, is that a significant difference?
I think so. What that really indicates is that we can be USDA approved by the local and regional food banks, which is substantial because you have to be a congregate food site. In other words, you have to feed everyone. You cannot have restrictions. You cannot not serve minors. You cannot have men only. You cannot just have an income level. You have to feed anybody that comes through the door. And if you meet that requirement, and also their sterilization, hygiene, and work place requirements, you can qualify as a USDA congregate site. And that's what we are. And they've been that for many years. And that allows us to get meats larger allocations of food to, from the food banks to support this program. And it's been a wonderful partnership with CCA, by the way, and excuse me, CAA. And so I am the right person. I was fascinated by this because with Restoration House, we had a food program too, but we couldn't qualify for this because we have a very specific clientele and we can't just feed everybody. So there is a restriction there. We're one of the few probably locally that do that actually have that. I think they have 7 congregate sites in the entire Clatsop County.
Thank you for that explanation. I wasn't sure what.
Yeah. Well, you can imagine that procurement's a huge part of this, being able to really get the food we need without having to buy it. And we still have to buy food, but that's a whole nother funding situation that's beyond what we're talking about today.
Any other questions? All right, thank you so much. Thanks for coming twice.
Twice. And one last closing. This is a very worthy program. It's a first-year applicant with you all. I hope that you'll give it serious consideration because it is a very important program for Clatsop County and has been for many, many years. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate you all.
Have a good one.
You take care.
Okay, so Liz, glad you're okay. So sorry, I didn't get it. I just showed up busy here. Glad you're here. Something wrong with her. It's not very good. Feeling this.
Having some challenges.
Yeah. Okay, no.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was that yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah, sure.
I see that trouble there.
I apologize for allowing me to. Yeah, I'm glad we have space, because it's a tight schedule today. Awesome. So they for finally coming in, so, yes, Cannon Beach History Center Museum, and, thank you for supporting us all these years. Last year, you supported us with it was a scan. What was that last? How many folks support? Yeah. I remember that. Okay, well, this year, I'm applying for, a dedicated volunteer research workspace. Because we are currently, right now, we're struggling with that. We don't really have, anything at the museum for that. We have a bunch of volunteers that are willing to help us, and we just don't have a space for that. We have 2 computers, but they're both from me and my colleague, and so we don't have anywhere to work at. And our collections are at a standstill. We have where to enter them, and both me and my colleague, we don't have any time to do that. We're both at our bandwidth before that, and so we're at a spot where we can't really add anything anymore to our collections. So it's really hard for us to continue to accept more things because we don't have any space to add to that and put in our collections. So this would help that. And also, we have a lot of people that come in to the museum wanting to do research. And we don't also have the time or the capacity to do that as well. So this will help that. So help take the time off our backs to help with that. And so this will really help that, and it'll be great for the community as well. Get people involved in that. So pretty much it's kind of self-explanatory, but we don't have any questions. Thanks for that. Anybody have any questions for Liz?
Appreciate what you're doing, girl.
Yeah.
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 We're trying to be involved in the community as possible. I try to change the museum into the community museum instead of just the museum. I think that's really important because we have a space for it, and it's really important to us as a museum. So, and we all appreciate. Yeah, thank you.
They're dedicated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, but where we,
So it would go in our office space. I have a. So we'll be getting rid of stuff. We have a lot of
space. We don't have a lot of space, we can tell. But we have a long time of been reorganizing stuff and moving stuff around. So we actually have more room than you think. So we would, we're getting rid of stuff. So we would have a space where we put a desk, for the research space. So we do have a desk. We have an extra desk that has nothing on it. So that's where volunteer, the volunteer space would go. And then we get another desk for a research, center essentially. So we have it kind of all mapped out. We're just ready, we're just kind of ready for it to get going. And we have the volunteers ready, ready to go. We have volunteers lined up. Don't have the. Yeah, how this is, we're just waiting,
It sounds like some growing pains are kind
Kind
of
of growing
taking
pains,
place.
yes.
So, I mean, is there a long term? How to grow?
Oh, absolutely, yes. We definitely have, that, we're definitely having that discussion.
Yeah.
I definitely am looking at, some capacity building as well, because I would like to hire, another employee at some point. That would be nice, because we are grown. There's a lot going on. We have, you know, we're constantly, but things that we're doing a lot, but we're very busy. So that's the hope, is that we continue to grow and expand, and so that's the ideal spot, is that we continue to grow and have more employees. That's what I'd like to see, but.
Hopefully we'll support you along that way and,
that. Yeah, we'd love to have a curator or a, you know, collections person, that would be ideal. Because we did have an intern that you supported a few years ago. Who's on full ride scholarship at LSU, by the way.
Awesome.
And wanting to be in the museum field, and he's doing extremely well.
yeah, that's a good.
Thanks to your support. Oh, yeah, he's wonderful.
Yeah.
We keep close contact with him, so he comes back and visits us, so. So happy for him.
Yeah. Good news.
So, oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah, so. Yeah, thank you for all that you've done to support us. I could not have done the things that we've done without you guys supporting us.
They're important to the community.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
The history.
I think your asks are so well thought out. They're frankly, to be reasonably sized as far as what we can realistically do, but you always come with such great requests, so I understand exactly what you need and why you need it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I never want to ask for astronomical thing, because that's not what we're here for, you know, I think that's unreasonable. Because it doesn't make sense to us. You know, I don't wanna ask for thousands of dollars, that's not.
But you need the things that you have.
Yeah, you asked
Yes, so
for
I'm
a
asking
meeting.
things I need, not the things I want. Of course I want, you know, of course I want thousands of dollars, everybody does, but you have to ask for what you need. Not what you want. So, and that's what's gonna ultimately help us grow as an organization, so.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, really, that's it, sweet me, I really.
Yeah.
Oh, so sorry. Oh, my gosh.
All good.
Oh, that's what you said in the seat.
That's true.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Yes.
Hello and welcome. I didn't know it was raining out there.
Just started.
Okay.
Just not keep the dust down.
Well, obviously some,
Okay.
if you consider, okay.
All right.
I think he's a great guy, but you know, I am a little biased, I'm sure.
What do you want to do?
All right, okay, all right. So we'll go ahead with helping hands. Thank you very much for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us. It's greatly appreciated. Have a good now.
Good to have you.
The city council last time, I think, so. So I just talked about what we do. I'm guessing, okay, so Helping Hands, we were founded about 25 years ago in Seaside here. We offer low barrier shelter mixed with a longer term reentry program. So folks can come in and access services, get off the street today. We've been serving individuals from Canada for a number of years, between our Seaside Center and Astoria Center. Also, long-term board members from Canada Police, Jason Sherburne, and now Corporal Bill, been on our board for a number of years. It's having a safe place for residents that may be struggling to land or people passing through the town, they have somewhere to make sure that they get somewhere safe and get a safe roof over their head. We operate a 59-bed facility in Uniontown and Astoria, Nagler Bridge there. We have a 24 low barrier bed shelter on South Roosevelt and Seaside. And I have a longer term ins house and a longer term house there. So we have roughly 94 beds in Clatsop County to serve individuals experience houselessness. With all the budget cuts, you've been watching the news, it's tough times for nonprofits right now. Contributions that we're really scrambling in a lot of areas. We operate six Oregon counties, we have 12 facilities, but it's not gonna lie, it's been a challenge with what's occurring in the state and federal government, but we seem to always find a way to keep on keeping on. And long ago, Canopy's been helping us out for a number of years, and we greatly appreciate that. And 10 years ago, I walked on the door and help myself before a renting company, and I think about the contributions like these are, without this stuff, there wouldn't have been a bed for me to give me the opportunity to change my life and help others change their life. And so I can't stress the importance of contributions to an organization like ours. So in a nutshell, that's who we are and what we do. Can I answer any questions of any sort, or we do that?
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
Usually less of the question asked.
I want to ask if someone wants to go first. So, and I do appreciate everything that you and your organization do. I think you fill a completely unique niche. Which I'm at. And reading through the application package, there's been a lot of upsets coming, the flooded facility and then I wanted to know, are we back up and whole and running and?
Yeah, so that was, that occurred at our Uniontown location. We had it's an 1890 finished boarding house, so it sprinkler system, the reservoir is on the attic floor. Someone put some stuff away and the accident fell and broke a pipe, and it didn't have a shut off. The fire department had to come shut off. So about, who knows how many, 40,000 gallons of water came down, and it was roughly, it cost us probably 1.5 million to get that thing back in order. And so insurance wouldn't cover that full amount, and through fundraising and generosity, we were able, but we've been fully operational for about a year and a half, 2 years or so. So yeah, that was a challenge for sure. We're just a great company that we somehow made it all these years. I don't know how, but keep surviving.
Anybody else have any other questions? No? Well, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for all you do.
Yeah, appreciate your time and having me, and if you run anyone needs some help, then thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Good luck, guys.
I just wanna go, since you're. Yeah, let's do it. Thank you for coming. Thanks for in the rain.
Yeah, no worries. I'm Ginger Keller, and I'm president of the board of the Canopy Chorus. And this is Royce, representative director, Inspiration, Guru, dog walker, yes. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about about the application and what our goals are for this next year. And then, and address some budget issues that you might have, questions you might have. And then we're gonna get into the fun stuff. We've been funded through community grants for many years, and it really does make a difference in what we can offer the community. Our mission is to offer the gift of vocal music to delight audiences, provide joy and challenge for participants, and expand awareness and appreciation of the choral arts. We take all of those diverse parts really seriously. Roy and I have a shared particular interest in outreach to people who haven't maybe experienced choral music in the past. And I think as part of Cannon Beach and arts community that we offer a lot in that regard. Our goals for this year, what we're asking for in our grant, to continue that diversity, language and heritage reflected in the music that we sing and in the chorus membership. And to that end, we do have membership dues, but we have a scholarship for people who, and we've been approached, I think more this year than we have in the past, especially recently with people say they want to sing with us, but they can't afford the $50 membership per season dues that we have, so that the scholarship funds are really, really helpful for us in that. To continue our outreach to diverse audiences through development of systematic publicity plan. So we haven't had a really good publicity plan, outreach plan, and we really want to do that this year. One of the things we'd like to do is, one of the things we thought about doing, we have new board members coming on, lots of energy about outreach and how to get the word out to people to join the chorus. We'd like to have more members, but also to have people come to our concerts. And one idea was to work more with the chamber and to go to the social gatherings of the chamber. And we'd like to look at having an advertisement in the annual events calendar that the chamber puts out. And then the cost of the music, which like everything else is going up. But I think that that's a particular gift that this chorus has and Roy has in really going out and finding the right music for the message that we want to put out. So that is an expense that we're asking for help with. So for budget information, we requested last year, the city, the community grant gave us $360. We spent $320 in helping people with dues. And again, for 2026, we're requesting $400. Now, publicity was really interesting because we came to you for $700 last year for publicity. We spent almost $1,700 in publicity. That's expanding our webpage, that's expenses in webpage, photography, videography that we've done into this year that we haven't done before, printing expenses, graphic design, it's providing professional appearance for the course, and was more expensive than anticipated. For 2026, we're requesting $1,600 for publicity. Community. Oh, and then music. We requested $1,000 last year. We spent almost $2,000. We're requesting $1,500 for this year. And again, that's really getting out and finding the right music for the right message and the right feel for the concert that we're doing. We're very excited to report back on the 4th of July special that we requested money for last year. The city gave us $900 for that event. We're anticipating the cost will be about $2,500 for that event is what it's ultimately will cost. And it is
I think it's gonna be a fantastic event in the park on 4th of July. And of course, we don't have those requests. So we won't be asking for in this next year. That was a one-time event, for the last cycle. Hope you all do plan on coming to the special on the 4th of July. It's gonna be a blockbuster. It'll pull your heartstrings is what it will do.
We're not asking for money because we only do it every 250 years.
It is,
We're not asking for it next year, but.
it is the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. I'll let Roy talk again. He'll give you enough time so that we can answer any questions that you might.
We've done a few things in the past year. We feel we've been much more successful at getting people to our concerts. And one of the reasons for that is we stopped charging for a concert and said we do ask for people that are interested to offer donations. But we've tried to knock that barrier down. And the same thing is true. We have a diverse group of people, and many of them are on fixed and low incomes that want to sing. And so we kind of struggle between expecting members to put something into the process and yet not creating an environment where people feel embarrassed or uncomfortable about coming and how to handle that. So we've tried to tread the line on that so people can participate. We've had good programs this year. We had much better attendance at the programs. I can't quantify it much, but I'd say we're probably about 50%, just as a rough guess. We did take donations. We wanted to see how they would work. We fell about $1,000 short of what we had gotten in the previous years for each concert, sort of average it out. So, just to give some idea.
Not each concert, but each series, concert series.
Each series, yes, not each concert. So we were hoping maybe it would come a little closer, but it hasn't, but we're ready to do that. We feel that it's an important thing. We haven't officially made a determination for next year. I'm going to be pushing hardest I can as a little guy to make sure we keep that open to people on that as well. I've had some contact with the school again this year, and I'm planning right now to go out for a couple of days in May. They've been preparing for the tests and other things like that. They did not have a paid, the academy, they did not have a paid music teacher this past year. The one they had was just a gift. She was good. She motivated the kids. It was all, but I think for budgetary reasons, they had to kind of look and say, where do we want to put our money on those things? So I don't have that to build with, but I am going to go out and do a couple of sessions with the school at the end of this month with some children, with the hopes that we can get generate some interest, and some of them may want to connect with us and participate in the 4th of July. So there's a lot of question marks and there's a lot of qualifiers, because I don't usually like to say things that I'm not confident about. I usually will indicate that I'm fairly certain the sun will come up sometime tomorrow, and it may or may not be visible, but I'm pretty careful about those things, So the children's connection, we're trying to revive that a bit after it having gone a little flat there. Our theme this year for our concert, and we sort of got double duty by using music for our concert that we just completed this series in the last couple of weeks. We'll be doing that. We'll be repeating that music for the 4th of July. So we're getting double duty out of that. And we had very strong response. And what we did is really kind of
Positive response.
Yeah, very strong positive response. Yeah. People were touched a lot of times. I don't want to, but I mean, people were touched and moved to tears at times because of
feeling that this was a message that resonated with them right now. And we wanted to do that. Did not hear any, when you take a subject like I Am America, the subject wasn't about you are, but it's about what's the concept of America and what does that look like? And I approached it with some trepidation, to be honest with you, because it's a potential issue, but we've had no negative input from the community. I think we were able to do something that was healing for many people and reinforcing and helping people to focus on some of the better parts of what makes us America as well. So that will be on the 4th of July. We did invite, partly because of Country Divinity, we had invited Lauren Sheehan, who is an artist that many of you are familiar with. She is a Roots Americana scholar and virtuoso. And she's going to be on the billing with us for the 4th of July. And so that is something that I'm excited about. She will be being able to present some background to the music, some context to the music, which is what I try to do when we sing as well, and then also performing. So we'll be out there and we'll see if we can get we have sound system cooperation from the community for a number of things. Paul, we've been involved with helping the connections. We've been in touch with the Total Arts column on that in terms of sound system and other things. So we're excited about it. From the reaction to our 4 concerts in the spring, I'm feeling very positive about how the response will be on the 4th of July. So
Great. Anybody have questions?
Well, I've actually seen the last concert, and I forgot well, very impressed. I don't have any questions. I just wanted to say that I really consider the work that the Kennedy's Chorus is probably one of the best examples of being so intentionally inclusive to everything. I mean, just amazing. I think the way you bring a lot of sensitivity to that. I'm sure more people in the organization do. I think it's important to.
Well, it is really important for Roy to be there because in particular, we're a non-audition chorus. So we ask that anybody who wants to sing, come and sing with us. And they would have to self-select to not sing with us if they felt like they weren't compatible, because Roy does the outreach. If they can read music, great. If they can't read music, he provides it electronically so they can learn it electronically and use hearing instead of reading. And is incredibly inclusive in getting singers in as well as the music that we sing and the audience. Yeah, thanks for noticing that. I think it's, I appreciate it.
I mean, it is a very integral part of what I try to, so to have feedback that that's what appears to be doing is a good thing, you know. Sometimes we try to do things that we don't achieve it, but it's important to me. And music is such a, I've said this to a lot of people, you know, to be able to bring a group of people together from diverse backgrounds to work towards a common goal where they have to learn how to cooperate, blend, make music together, do things at the same time, other things like that, to have them enjoy it and be inspired by singing it, and then to bring it to a community audience that's appreciative. It just feels like sometimes it doesn't seem like much, but it can be a very powerful thing, and I believe it's important if we were to right that we can.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay. You ready for me?
Yeah, come on, Andrew.
Hold on 1 second, Andrew. Do that again. I will. Get it right. Okay.
your time, consideration, and support, not just for the Arts Colony, but everything this committee and does for lifting up our community. I'm confident that you all know what we do at the Arts Colony, so I'll try to keep things moving. And hopefully get to show the entirety of the video. I just want to quickly touch up on three things. What we've got coming up, what our challenges are, and what we're changing. So here's what we've got coming up. We're in the thick of planning for the 18th annual Butts Citywide Mini Golf Tournament and fundraiser. The amount of community involvement in this event is amazing. We counted, donations from 60 businesses last year. And, the amount of people that just can't wait for it every year. In 18 years, it's really taken on a life of its own. It's a cool, individual, unique thing. As we shift to the summer, we'll spend more time in the park producing the pre-summer concerts. Earlier this year, our board expressed interest in increasing the frequency of concerts. And that's what we're doing as of today. We've got more scheduled than last year, and that's only through July so far. And between us, this is the earliest I've ever had actual dates on the book. I usually, get into that later. So I'm excited about that. As mentioned by the chorus, we're partnering with them for the 4th of July event. We'll, use our insurance, permitting, and stuff, and help them promote it. I do think it's kind of like a really cool program. We're also working on an artist residency for a living sculpting resident. So here are our challenges. Simply put, we're living in a wild world, from the environment to the economy, these are unprecedented times, and we're seeing, with our board members and partners, the art market has been soft, and travel could end up being the same. It could be a strange summer with fires and, God only knows what. But we want to, with those things in mind, we want to keep our barriers to entry as low as possible, producing free and low cost events, offering scholarships and financial support. We hope to embody the phrase becoming more common, no one turned away for lack of fun. On a more local, granular level, we're facing resistance. This is such a weird thing, from the county health inspector for having food events like potlucks. We had a potluck in March in this room, celebrating World Water Day, and a few days later, we got a message from the health inspector that said these kind of events are not okay. There was a presentation yesterday here at 8:30 in the morning, and one of our board members attended, put on by the health inspector, to kind of, look at this a little more deeply, and that's something we're working on, whether it's organizing or finding ways to do it. It's something we believe that, is important to people in the community to bring people together. So that's something we're dealing with. So here's what we're changing. As I mentioned, we're doing more pre-summer concerts. We're continuing to explore ways to help our neighboring nonprofits. I know you heard from the Legion today. We plan to donate a portion of our Putts proceeds to their roof fund and try to help, spread the word about that as well. We're continuing to support the Seaside High School Scholarship Program with fine art and performing art scholarships. We're continuing to support Peyton Community Radio. As I mentioned, we're facilitating a living artist residency, working with established artists in the region who will open their home to a burgeoning sculpture for up to 2 months at a time to no charge of the artist. And because we've had a good couple of years for we have increased the amount we share with our teachers. They now take 80% of all tuition collected and pay nothing for the use of total on hall insurance or promotion or anything like that. I'd probably leave something out, but I want to get to our video presentation, which tell its own story. I heard the soundtrack you'll hear. I heard last night, and I heard on the radio last night. It felt like the right vibe for me. It does say like Middle America. Let's think of that as all America. Like, it just
You'll see. It's not meant to be. That. Anyway, okay, take it away. Oop, no sound. Makes it so good.
All myself, I should go dancing. Yeah, I'm because I was don't be concerned today, it's not that I'm still happy to be breathing. You know I have been, you know I have been, yeah, down the highway, I check. So there's walking out town, but no one answers me, just how that me. We alone again, what's coming? It's your own pay, it's rolling. It's we're going to ask the station, it's happening there. Go on, share it. Two of us in the middle red.
Little extra here, footage from Concert in the Park, Norman Sylvester. Generally, we have a policy that year over year, we don't book the same artist twice, but we're booking Norman again. He's the biggest draw and, you know, we feel so lucky to have him and who knows how long he could keep performing, so he'll be back this summer. And that's all I have. If you have questions for me.
That's what I always do, Andrew. In this community.
Yeah, I don't have a question, so I just wanted to make a comment that I'm really impressed and pleased with the changes, the direction that our colony is, it seems to be moving. I don't think I've ever understood them as clearly as I do now, and you know, I'm on board with everything you're trying to do. I think it's great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, how good is that?
Thanks, Andrew. You, Trevor.
You know, it's a soundtrack.
You know that counts with my. Pretty good.
That's it. Hey, Susan, we're ready for you. I'm not speaking. Oh, you're not speaking? Paula Creek.
Trevor, is she on the? No.
Okay.
So what do you want?
Great, you wanna come to me?
Do I sit there or?
Yes, please.
And Trevor, she had the new one come through on our email, so I didn't know if you saw that.
It's just a link that you click, it opens in a browser. And are you Kristen?
I am Kristen.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, great.
Okay, start your presentation now.
Yes,
One more.
and. You see those little arrows at the bottom?
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, hello, everybody. I'm here representing Fire Mountain School. My name is Kristen McLaughlin Del Rio, and I'm the executive director. Fire Mountain School was founded in 1983, and for over 40 years, we've been raising the next generation of community and environmental stewards, children ages 4 through 11, all along the North Coast, from Tillamook all the way to up to Astoria. We can move to the next slide. So, in addition to being an incredible school that's on 2 acres of coastal forest, we are also a nonprofit organization, and as such, as a nonprofit, it's our duty to provide a good for the community. And we do that in a couple of ways. Well, for one, we provide a magical educational experience that centers around nature, focuses on community, and instills a lifelong love of learning, and also a lifelong dedication to this place that we are so lucky to call home. We do that in a couple of ways. Here you'll see us planting trees with the Lower Nahilo Community Trust, doing beach cleanup with Coast Watch, and helping out with the community garden at Alder Creek Farm. What happens is that these children grow up understanding the community and the ecosystem in which they live, and it creates a dedication that lasts a lifetime. And one of the best outputs that we can offer to the community is simply raising good citizens that go out into the world, spread that message, and then hopefully come back and continue to steward this place. We also provide a community gathering place.
Throughout the year, we have several celebrations that invite people beyond just our enrolled families. For instance, our May Day celebration, over 40 years running, we had it 2 weekends ago, and it's a joyous occasion where the kids dance around the maypole. We have live music and a DJ this year, and it's one of our big fundraising events that everyone in the community is welcome to attend. We also have a fairy tale theater performance in partnership with Hoffman Center for the Arts that invites the broader community. This summer, we're launching our first annual summer concert fundraiser featuring, this year will be a family folk artist called Red Yarn. And lastly, we offer summer camps that service children beyond just our enrolled students, children, grandchildren of homeowners, second homeowners, and tourists and visitors of the North Coast. So what we are asking for is some improvements to our infrastructure. In order to host all of the people that we love to host, we need to have a little bit more space for parking. And in order to do so, we are hoping for a gravel parking expansion. And in addition to that, a new fence to install to keep our children and the community members that visit us safe, and inside a nice, beautiful container that runs along this Elk Flat Road and keeps us safe and provides more space for some parking along that road. So the total of what we're asking is $2,500, $1,000 going to gravel and materials, and $1,500 for fencing materials and installation. We imagine that this will probably just sort of scratch the surface of what this might actually cost as far as labor and materials go. So the rest of the project we will be covering with in-kind donations from our family membership. So this investment matters to Cannon Beach and the broader North Coast community because it provides safety, access to our grounds, and a place for community to gather. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you for hearing me out, and I can take any questions that you might have. Question?
So I'm not very familiar with Farm Mountain, although I've been aware of it, I've actually never been out there, correct me by that. Your student body, is Farm Mountain open to everyone?
It is open to everyone. It is a private school, so there is tuition cost. We're open to ages 4 through 11.
That's the only restriction is very true.
Correct.
Yeah. Do you have, if there was someone that wanted to join the school, are there any scholarships or
We do.
assistances?
Yes, we offer tuition assistance for families that qualify for government assistance in that time.
Thank you.
Paramount's always had a really great volunteer group. Is that still where parent involvement, grandparents, everybody, the whole community is
Yes.
highly involved? And so I would think for any shortcomings with your projects that you would easily find some volunteers as well as in-kind
Absolutely.
donations.
Our volunteers, we do nothing without them, and we have a really robust student body this year, 23 families enrolled. Our capacity is 24, so that's pretty great. And yeah, we have 3 main volunteer groups, a community, a party planning group, a maintenance committee, and a fundraising committee, and a lot of times we just all work together to get what needs to be done, but
So it's been really well run from everything I know about it.
that's great to hear.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Kristen.
So, next, will be full free awareness program.
Is Doug, we're gonna do the presentation?
I found it's gonna be Sandy Ward, but. Is Doug on? Then it'll be Doug. Yes. I don't wanna.
Trevor. Thank you.
Is Doug gonna be presenting too, or he's gonna be zooming in? Okay.
Give me 1 second.
And I'll cue him, but he can join anytime.
Great. Are you ready?
I am, right? Friendly faces, thank you. I just thought instead of just looking at me, have pictures worth 1,000 words, so I thought it's just a slideshow for you. And Trevor's got it all organized, Trevor, Cherry, Ross, so.
They're the best.
Here we go. Hold on. Hi, folks. I am Sandy Ward. I want to thank you for this grant opportunity and even more for the chance to speak about why I am so excited about the MCAP proposal. I've been invited to be a part of the project team, and I'll be sharing with you reasons why I enthusiastically said yes. And the project involves 3 things that I'm really deeply passionate about, and one is the health of our watersheds, and in this case, the Echo Creek watershed. Another is the amazing children who attend Cannon Beach Academy, your wonderful free public charter school here. And the other one is opportunities for all of us to learn from traditional knowledge holders. So that this project is kind of an intersection of those 3 things that I'm passionate about. Next slide, please, Trevor. This project is our chance to capture the traditional ecological knowledge of the Cannon Beach area, including the watershed. And to me, this knowledge is relevant in understanding the lands and the waters and the wildlife of this place. Things that are so vital to Cannon Beach. And to gain a deeper understanding of how we can steward it. As adopted by the city of Cannon Beach, the Echo Creek Forest Reserve, sure, sorry, back, there we go. Has a goal in their stewardship plan of fostering community involvement and education. So this project aligns with that goal and the goals of ECAP. And this work, as you know, is motivated by many reasons, not the least of which is protecting the drinking water for this amazing community. And now, next slide, please. Thank you so much, Trevor. Even though there's such a wealth of knowledge about this place, I will say that our understanding is lacking. Because the knowledge and perspectives of the people who lived here successfully for thousands of years is in danger of being lost. And as we lose our elder traditional knowledge holders, that would be a tragedy for everyone. This grant will give us a chance to capture that oral history, the 99% of human history of this place. And we'll be creating place-based lessons on it that will serve our community, the visitors, and most importantly, the young people of this place. Next slide, please. The gift of traditional knowledge is going to be the basis of curriculum, at least 6 lessons to be integrated into the learning of the Cannon Beach Academy students, grades K through 5. The learning is going to be hands-on, place-based, and provide opportunities for them to gain confidence as community educators. Learning opportunities like this is what I spent 40 years developing as a public school educator. So I'm really passionate about it and really excited to get to work even more with these kids as I've been volunteering with them for the last year. The students are going to be sharing this knowledge with the greater community through a fall event and a spring event that we hope will become annual and will have ripple effects in your community. Events that will provide opportunities for stewardship in the entire community and visitors alike. No, that's it, there we go. I know many of you are really familiar with Cannon Beach Academy, but I have to say that it's been wonderful for me to volunteer with them on a weekly basis all year. It being a smaller learning community is different from where I've been a substitute around the North Coast or where I worked as a middle school and high school teacher. It's huge schools. It's a place with an incredibly supportive parent and staff community, a network of nonprofits that helps. But what I see with these kids is that it's a place to develop relevant, innovative education. And through this project, we'll be able to do just that and to share the curriculum that we create with some of our neighbors, like those to the south in Nehalem. This project, to me, and to all of the people on the team, is of historic significance. We're making sure that 99% of human history of this place isn't forgotten, and isn't lost, that we, to a degree, bridge the gap in our collective knowledge and keep an entire body of wisdom from dying out. And we want it to become part of the living experience of our kids, people living in this place now, their families and community, but also for the benefit of the generations that'll be living here to come. And next slide, please. I'm really excited that the county has put together this team, and I'm honored to be a part of this project. I'm a Seaside resident, but I'm proud to call myself a North Coast resident. I'm here in Cannon Beach and Astoria all the time. I volunteer with the North Coast Land Conservancy and the Cannon Watershed Council, and for the last year, the joy of getting to know those kids at Cannon Beach Academy. I just can't keep the smile off my face. They're lights to me. So I'm excited about my role as the curriculum creator in this project, but I'm really just the glue. And so I'd like to introduce Doug Dewar, who's on deck there, and let him speak about the project as one of the traditional knowledge holders involved.
Thank you, and thanks to the committee. I'm not available in town today, but I was happy to call in and speak in favor of this project. Good to see you. Thanks for your time. As Sandy's so well pointed out, 99% of the human history in Cannon Beach is Native history, and somehow, though, we have lost access to that body of knowledge. And so while a person might look at the discussion of a curriculum focused on the Native experience as kind of an obscure thing, maybe something appropriate for an Oregon history requirement for schools or a diversity requirement, there's so much more there. We have oral traditions that are just, they're just a last generation left who know these things. Oral traditions telling us, why do the salmon not return sometimes? And what do we do about it? What does it look like when a tsunami is approaching Cannon Beach? And where do people go to get away from it? How do we live side by side with elk as our neighbors, whole herds of elk roaming around, and make that work? Or even how to deal respectfully with large numbers of outside visitors and navigate that, being friendly and still establishing meaningful boundaries. So all of those things are brought to us across that vast experience of time, right in this location. And so while this is in some ways Native history that feels a little obscure, the curriculum relating to these things connects to so many aspects of our lived experience and so many other dimensions that are part of the curriculum for school kids at the Cannon Beach Academy, at Fire Mountain, and many other schools in the area. There are themes of geology, there's zoology, there's botany. I have a volume coming out soon from Oregon State University Press specifically on the ethnobotany of our area, which we can draw from in some of this curriculum development. And so all of that information is potentially available to us in this form. And at this moment, we are at again, a time that is a rare opportunity, but also a challenge. We only have, one or two elders left to us who are knowledgeable enough to make sure that this information is remembered and recorded appropriately and so forth. So we have this opportunity with Sandy, who is a professional curriculum developer, myself advising Dick Bash, who is a tribal elder, to provide an approach that is not only appropriate for the Cannon Beach Academy, but has much wider applications, can be shared with other schools and scaled out as appropriate, helps meet some of the objectives of some of the nonprofit organizations in town, and also helps meet even city objectives. I know that when we set up the Ecola Creek Forest Reserve long ago, there were four main objectives we identified in the management plan, protecting water quality, salmon fish, the integrity of the old forests. And then the fourth goal that still sits there on the page looking kind of forlorn at us is public education, getting young people out onto the ground to learn about those places. And this provides us with an opportunity to provide curriculum that can be applied in those settings as well. And so with all of those ingredients in place, I agreed I would step forward and assist on this project, knowing that it might provide long-term benefit to the community, educational value, local knowledge, and help make sure that that 99% of human history is not lost to us, but still continues to inform the thinking and the explorations of young people all over Cannon Beach. So with many thanks for the committee's time and service on this committee, I thank you and look forward to the work ahead.
Thank you, Doug.
Trevor, just the last slide is my thank you. You can see he's so articulate and he's one of the reasons why I'm enthusiastic about that project. And I will say that we had the kids in the estuary last week planting willow and they're growing yarrow. It's on deck. So they're already starting that stewardship journey. Again, thank you for your time and I'll let the next person go.
They appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Good seeing you all. See you around town.
Bye-bye. Okay, Academy.
More cheers.
Thanks for being here. Did not know as well. Brought some kids with me today. So you want to start and introduce yourselves first? Let's go first. Don't be shy. This is Mira. What grade are you, Mira? How long have you been a student at Beach Academy? 6 years. And Mabel, what grade are you? Yes. And how long have you been? 30 years. They are graduating class this year. Two out of 8 of her graduating class.
And I'm Alec Holzer, board member, grandparent or former.
Yeah. And Mary Ellen represents the director.
You want to start with the first few lines, just give it a start.
Yeah, so, the project that we're looking for is enclosing, a wall that is right now, it's a temporary wall that separates 2 areas in our school. One is the core classroom, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade classroom, and the other one we use for our cafeteria for breakfast and lunch that we serve. We also use it for after school clubs and art sometimes, but with the wall being open at the top, there's a lot of noise between the 2 rooms, so we're hoping that as we expand our program and hopefully expand our school to include middle school, this will give us another classroom space so that we can grow. So that is what we're looking at.
So the next slide really is about acoustics and how important that is within the learning environment. And so, yeah, you really can't, for maybe back 3 or 4 years ago when there were 2 classes going at the same time between those 2 rooms, it really wasn't functional at all. And as Mary Ellen pointed out, there's a desire of the board to over the future expand the school into additional grades, which would require that come back to be a classroom. And so even as it is now, when there's something special or breakout happening on one side of the class and another, it really is the acoustics. And that isn't even a wall, that white part is just actually cabinets between there. And so this would turn it into a full wall, acoustic wall. It would also deal with some of the fire sprinkler issues where right now it's sort of one space, but it has this temporary cabinetry between the two spaces. So the next slide, really, yeah, you can see, just, replacing that wall with the brand new wall. Full height that we really close that, and there's some electrical work that would need to be redone and other things to make that fully functional. And I think for the building itself, it would, make that space long-term use, obviously much, much better. There are two separate doors already that go out to the playground area, so that kind of works really ideally, without connecting those two spaces. And the last slide really is just the budget that we put forward for this. Mary Ellen's gotten a couple of, estimates, and we think really for a relatively minor cost, it has a really considerable usability of the space, and particularly as we look to expand offerings at the school in the future.
Thank you.
Questions? Any questions?
How did you girls get chosen to come to this meeting? I'm really glad that you came. It's really awesome having you. Thank you very much. And I assume that you love your school and you're going to move on to everything.
We have it worked out where one class is having recess while the other one's having lunch, so the noise is not an issue at the moment, but it doesn't, you can definitely hear people in one room from the other, so.
Yeah, so the last slide just is a big thank you, and partially that the school has benefited from the grants in the past, and we know the lighting has really improved. That was a few years ago, I guess, and a significant improvement to the whole learning environment. So lighting, acoustics, those are the big things for learning for these kids. And it's been so much improvement, so it's a big thank you for those grants to make that. And then the city did step up for the roof.
Yeah.
And some other
Skylights
things.
for.
Skylights that have been fixed,
Yeah.
so we're really on the path to bringing it up to what we would consider, you know, a great academic learning environment. The environment building that fits the level, I think as you've been heard from the last presentation, the kind of academic environment that's there. This is bringing the building up to support that. Very cool.
Quick question then, will this grant cover 100% of the construction expenses?
Any questions?
Well, I don't have a question. I didn't keep count, but it strikes me that there's been a number of the organizations that have talked to us today, morning, that mentioned your connection with the academy and really seem to appreciate the way that you're working with. I don't know how to put it exactly, but I appreciate the fact that the academy is really becoming a great integral part of this whole process. Congratulations, I guess.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been fantastic to have local nonprofit organizations coming and teaching our students watershed and the Plant Conservancy, and our kids are getting a phenomenal education, you know, and learning a lot about local things that are very important, I think, and memorable for the kids. And so appreciate Sandy and the people from North Coast Land Conservancy. And in our relationship with Ecola Bible College, we've had several students come in and work with our kids in our after school program. So it's really, it feels very good to be part of such a wonderful community that supports a lot of those. We're happy to benefit from that as well.
Well, that's all about the community, is everybody coming together and benefiting and getting our younger generation involved. And educated.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, girls.
Thank you. So I'm gonna go ahead and adjourn the meeting since there's